Coach, I want to open up with the defense last week. Obviously 5 sacks, but just felt like you guys got a ton of pressure like the entire game. And I know for me it felt like you guys were blitzing more, but I also thought you were winning battles on the line. So I'm curious which way you felt in it. Is it play calling? Was it those guys just had a heck of a game? Is it both?
Yeah, I mean, we pressured a decent amount, but seldomly on third down. I think every sack came on third down. Those were all base rush sacks, except for Mike's, which was that was the only first and second down sack that came under pressure. But yeah, I mean, we kind of challenged him at halftime and said, who else? Jaworski's really the only one that gets the quarterback right now, and need some of the other guys to join the party. And Fonz stepped up and Sammy, so did a great job.
Coach, we're in week 11 now. He's been really good all season long, just one interception. I just want to know, what are some overall takeaways and some things that may have impressed you over the course of the season with CJ Montes?
Yeah, I mean, he's open to criticism. He always is working to improve his game. He's had setbacks. He didn't play a great game against Stony Brook, but he came back the following week and really worked his tail off. And even last week, he threw for 350. But I think he would be the first to tell you that he feels like he left some yards on the field. And what I noticed from him this week is he's really attacked the week of practice. I thought he had a fantastic week, and that's kind of what's so special about him is he's never complacent. He never cites his stat line or anything like that. He's always working at it. Similar to Tim, those guys understood that when you coached them and you were coming from a place of you think very highly of them, and we certainly think very highly of CJ, just like we thought of Timmy. So anytime we say, hey man, kind of left this out there, left that out there, your eyes got to be here. He's very, very receptive to that.
When we talked on Wednesday, you mentioned the Lafayette run game, and even with their lead back, Curtis, banged up the last couple of weeks, they've still been productive. Troy Bruce, freshman that stepped up for them. So I'm curious what makes their run attack so effective.
Well, they're doing the wide split stuff that we do, and the offensive line's playing well, and DeNoble does a good job of keeping you on your toes with the RPOs and the quarterback run, and they do a nice job with it. So you got to get hats to the football, and you gotta get hats in gaps, or they're gonna make you pay.
Lafayette defense having an historic season, 33 sacks on this year. Mm-hmm. What have you been planning so far this week in practice to prepare your team for this front four that they have going?
Yeah, I mean, front four plays hard, and they also have a pretty extensive blitz package. They pressure a decent amount, so it's okay. Well, you got to get comfortable blocking their patterns and handling their blitz patterns. You have to stay out of long yardage situations, so you got to do a good job on first and second down. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, 21's a really good pass rusher. He's been there a long time, and he understands it really well. But their D line, they play with great effort. So you got to block from snap to whistle. You can't get lazy. You've got to have really good pad level, really good feet up front if we want to have success.
Alfonso on Wednesday said to me that he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to come back this year. And then you look at senior day when he's got 7 tackles and a sack. Just on a personal level, how proud are you of the work he's put in just to be able to get back and play this season? Not only play, he's had an impact the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love Fonz, and Fonz is kind of a character, but I think he's great. He really worked his tail off. He had a bad injury in our second scrimmage, and really worked his tail off to get back, and just really the last 2 years he's been a tremendous leader. He's worked really hard. He's a good practice player. He's not always right, but he always does it fast, and and that's something that we take a tremendous amount of pride in. Is, hey, listen, make as many mistakes as you want, just do it fast, and learn from the mistakes that you make. So Fonz, I mean, it was great to see him out there doing it. He's come up big in some key situations for us, and is really he's playing the best football I've seen him play probably the last game.
Coach, thanks a lot for the time.
Thank you.
Well, this Fordham Rams team, 6-3, 2-2 in conference. Again, mathematically eliminated from the Patriot League title, but still vying for an at-large bid. They've received votes in the coaches poll. And what would go a long way is defeating a Lafayette team that's been one of the best in the Patriot League, number 23 ranked in the coaches poll. But beating Lafayette, easier said than done, because you talk about this defense. 33 sacks in 9 games. That's the most in the entire FCS. This defense is relentless, led by Billy Schaefer. He's going to be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year in the Patriot League. They get pressure from everywhere. They get to the quarterback all the time. It's going to be a tough day for the Fordham offense.
Yeah, Lou, as Coach Conlon was saying, you got to be ready for those blitz packages, and this Fordham defense or offense is ready for those packages, and we'll see. Lafayette's probably going to send 5 to 6 guys at a time coming from all different angles, so it's going to be a big game to see what CJ Montes can do with the short pass game. Got to find Cody Garrett and MJ Wright across the middle on those slants, and Julius Luffridge, something that he really likes to do, get open in the flat for a little screenplay, get an extra 15, 20 yards, give or take. But it's going to be a tough matchup with a lot of the front four and additional defenders on Lafayette coming every single snap.
And, we talked to John Troxell, the head coach of Lafayette, earlier this week, and he said, I'm not sure you can ever stop the Fordham offense. He said obviously they haven't been shut out. They've been pretty good as of late, but he said their main goal this week is we want to get into CJ Montes' comfort zone. And when you look at Fordham, they allow the second most sacks in the Patriot League. I think a lot of that comes from that 10-sack game up at Albany. They've been a lot better since then, but you go up against a pass rush like this where you look at that front four with guys like Mayte, Joseph, and O'Hearn. You look at that linebacker unit. They send Olivas and Schaefer all the time. That you're going to get pressure from everywhere. They get sacks from everywhere, so you can't just double-team one guy. This is a consistent pass rush up and down their front seven.
And Troxell did say it too, Lou. Their goal is going to be to have CJ tuck and run. So he didn't explicitly say, yeah, we're going to blitz a lot, but he did say the goal is to get CJ to tuck and run and try to force unforced errors. So big matchup, big defenses against a flying high Fordham offense. Should be an exciting showdown.
This Fordham offense, as we said, has been in groovy. Look at the last 2 games, both against Holy Cross and against Bucknell. Very solid games for CJ Montes. The passing yardage has been there. Maybe a little bit inaccurate, but you combine that passing attack, which has been one of the best in the FCS, with Julius Luffridge, who's on an absolute tear. You look at his last 4 games, 640 yards, 7 touchdowns, averaging 160 yards per game over that stretch. Julius Luffridge has been a monster. He's a guy that Troxell talked about as, again, you're not going to be able to stop him. You just hope to keep him to 3, 4, 5-yard carries. But Julius Luffridge has been an absolute monster.
And it's been really enjoyable to watch him grow into this role. Remember, Lou, we saw him when he was backing up Trey Sneed for 2 years. Now the premier back, Julius Luffridge, he became the 11th rusher in Fordham history to surpass 1,000 rushing yards in a season last week against Bucknell. Beautiful season for Luffridge, and definitely has added to a dynamic attack on this Fordham offense. A lot of passing last year. There was some run, but this year it's been a nice, steady dose of both.
We're almost set for kickoff here from Fisher Stadium in Easton, Pennsylvania. It's Fordham kicking away left to right. Fordham in all white with maroon helmets. Lafayette, maroon tops, white pants, white helmets. Both these two teams have very similar shades of maroon, so that should be fun. It's the Lafayette offense that's set to get ball first. Peskin, hand goes up, charges, puts toe to leather, we're underway. Kick to the far side, and the fair catch by Jermaine Conyers. Lafayette will start at the 25-yard line. Jermaine Conyers back after missing last week against Colgate, and Colgate handed Lafayette their first loss in conference play, a 37-34 loss in overtime. But the big thing in that game is Lafayette was without their top 2 backs. Talk about Conyers, but the big loss, Jamar Curtis, led the Patriot League in yards per game, an absolute workhorse of a back. And we talked to Troxell. He said he's going to be banged up. Not sure if we're going to see him today.
He's the 3rd leading rusher in the Patriot League, too, Lou, with 963 yards, just a few short of Julius Luffridge there. But, yes, Coach Troxell did say he was going to try to play through it, but I don't know. If you look at the freshman Troy Bruce in the backfield, he's had a nice 2 weeks in a row as the starting back.
Well, Curtis is out there for the first snap. It's him and Conyers flanking DeNoble. Gilbert comes across in motion. 2 down low, 1 up top. The handoff goes to Kerman, and going nowhere. Conway gets in there to blow it up. Good pass rush by the Fordham Rams. Conway getting right in there with Mike Courtney to blow up that hand up to Conyers.
Mike Courtney, 40th total tackle of this season. He started at safety in 2022 and became the starting linebacker in 2021, moved to safety in 2022, back at linebacker in 2023, and he has had one great campaign back at his normal position.
2nd and 12, Curtis sidecar left at DeNoble, gets the straightaway handoff up the gap to the 25-yard line, met there. And it's Conway and Courtney once again in for the tackle, setting up 3rd and long.
Yeah, Lou, great rush defense to start for Fordham. Lafayette really going nowhere, just 1 yard so far on this drive. Fordham, they're going to need to lock down the secondary, not let up any too big deep balls here. Quick 3 and out would be nice for this Fordham defense.
This Fordham defense coming off a season-high 5 sacks. 4 of them came on 3rd downs. Empty backfield as Curtis motions out wide left. DeNoble in the gun, 3 down low, 2 up top. Only 3 on the line for Fordham. They send 4. Quick pass left side for Curtis out of the backfield. Up to the 30-yard line, well short of the 1st down. As Curtis lined up out wide, got that screen pass, but only able to take it up for 5.
Don't know if a Fordham defender got a hand on that or not, but that ball came out a little wobbly out of DeNoble's hand, and Curtis, he did a good job of corralling it, but went straight into the ground in a quick 3 and out, Lou. Fordham, they get the ball back on downs.
And Will, we talked off air. This Lafayette team is a great first quarter team, but this Fordham defense getting an early 3 and out.
Lafayette, Lou, 76 points in the first quarter, 83 in the in the second, but then in the 3rd and 4th, 45 and 46, a first half team for sure.
Low snap for Trestic, picks it up off the ground, the high punt to the 35-yard line, fair catch by Cole Thornton. And we'll get our first look at this Fordham offense. 12:57 left in the first quarter. And this Fordham offense, we've talked about Luffridge and C.J. Montes, but I think a lot of the attention now goes to this O-line, and an O-line that will be without Ryan Joyce for the rest of the season. Ryan Joyce, an all-conference lineman. It's Duke Leonard right now getting snaps at right guard. And he'll be tested against this fearsome Lafayette pass rush. Fordham starts at the 36. Montes in the gun, trips left, lone receiver out right, Luffridge offset left. Snap, read option. Montes keeps left side, but coming off the edge and nowhere to go. For a loss of 1, that's Marco Olivas. And we'll talk about these linebackers a lot. Schaefer and Olivas make a lot of plays.
And there it is, Lou. The first blitz of the game for Lafayette. Troxel, we talked about it a couple days ago with us. They set up 6 guys in that package, and they ate it up pretty easily.
2nd and 11, Montes the snap, Lafayette sends 4, throwing over the middle, MJ right at the 45, blown up after the catch by Gabe Dubois, but down at the 45, yards short of the 1st down marker on 3rd down.
Excellent job by C.J. Montes there. MJ Wright, he was triple covered right there. C.J. Montes in a tight window gets the pass completed.
Lafayette showing blitz, run up the middle for Julius Luffridge up to the 45. Does he get to the 46? It's close. Ref will walk it out, and they're going to say move the chains. Luffridge gets enough.
And Lou, it looked like Fordham got a little bit of a break there. Thought he was a little bit short. They'll get the 1st down, though.
Fresh set of downs from their own 46, 2 up top, 1 down low, play action. Lafayette sends 5. Montes up and running, avoids the sack, running out far side, up to the 50, gets by a tackler, past the 1st down, the 40 out of bounds at the 35-yard line. C.J. Montes skirting by a couple tackles.
That's what you have to worry about if you're Coach John Troxel. He did talk about it with us over the last week, Lou. Needs his secondary to make tackles. If C.J. Montes can escape the first 6 or 7 guys that he sends at them, safeties and cornerbacks are going to need to make tackles. Right there, a prime example, did not go down.
Well, a big run for C.J. Montes will be brought all the way back by offensive holding, so instead of 1st down in Lafayette territory, move them back to their own 46. It's 1st and 20. And a tough break for this Fordham offense as they get moved back to the 36-yard line. Trips left, lone receiver out right, Luffridge sidecar right. Jaden Allen comes across in motion. Snap, play action, Montes looks left, throws left. Jaden Allen blown up, a huge hit by Gabe Dubois. Took out the legs of Jaden Allen, who was unable to come up with that catch.
Jaden Allen, 10 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown there. Very consistent tight end for the Rams this season. Kind of got blown up there, though. Great coverage by the Lafayette secondary. And there you go. There's an example of what Coach Troxel wants to see out of his defense.
3 receiver tight end set. Ball in the near hash. 2nd and 20. Montes claps to the snap. Straightaway give Luffridge up past the 35. Falls forward for a couple more. Rule him down at the 39. It's a gain of 3 and still third and a ways to go. As that offensive holding penalty proving to be costly. Trips left, 3rd and 17, 11 minutes left in our first quarter. It's MJ Wright, lined up on the far side, single coverage with Gabe Dubois. Just 5 in the box for Lafayette. They send 4, snap, Montes has time, looks left, throws left, MJ Wright the catch. At the 48-yard line, he'll give him 4 yards short of the first down. And we'll see how this Fordham offense will elect to play it. They're now in Lafayette territory, but it looks like they're sending out the punting unit.
Unfortunate there, Lou. Nice run there by C.J. Montes. Did exactly what he had to do and what Fordham is going to have to do all afternoon to beat this Lafayette defense. You got to beat the secondaries after you beat the front 4, 5, 6, whatever the case may be for each blitz package.
This Fordham offense ranks very well in the FCS, but also the 10th most penalized team in the FCS. Hazlitt punt away from his own 43. Bounces at the 5 and rolls into the end zone, a break for Lafayette. Will Hazlitt unable to pin Lafayette inside their own 20. With 9:57 left in the first quarter, still no score. We'll take our first break. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
What's up, guys? I'm Julia Moss.
And I'm Will Tallant.
And we're 2 of your hosts for one of WFUV's football podcasts, NFL Friday.
Tune in every Friday for all news and updates around the National Football League.
Also, we'll be making our picks of the week around the league on every episode. Check out NFL Friday wherever you get your podcasts to catch the action.
Back with you, Fordham Football on WFUV Sports. Lou Orlando, Will Tallant. It's Fordham versus Lafayette, one of Fordham's last 2 games here in the 2023 regular season. And look at the first couple drives. The Fordham defense holds strong, a 3-and-out. Lafayette benefiting from a penalty. They're able to get a stop, but you watch that defensive possession for Lafayette, and you see a lot of, well, they're giving up some 10-yard passes, but they're keeping Fordham in front of them, and that seems to be a theme, is containing this Fordham offense, limiting the big plays.
And it's going to have to come down to them throwing more, them being Fordham, Lou, because if Julius Luffridge is going to get stuff like this every single time, it's going to make it tough to run the ball anywhere. They're making it very, very tough for Luffridge to find any space. So, as we saw, C.J. Montes is going to have to use his own footing a lot. But finding MJ Wright, Garrett Cody as well, for those 10, 15-yard passes, it's been really good. It's been really great to see as well. Tight openings. This Lafayette secondary is not making it very easy for C.J. Montes, but he is carving them through in that first drive.
And that secondary, I think, by default, is the weakest part of the Lafayette defense. That's not an insult. It's a credit to how good their front 7 is and the stats that they're racking up. But you look at Lafayette, the best run defense in the Patriot League. So Julius Luffridge and that O-line has their work cut out for them. So you might think that you take the lesser of the evils. Yes, Sekou White's in that secondary, but especially with AT and Tang out, it's Taylor Smallwood starting across from him as the other defensive back that you might see Fordham lean heavily on the pass. But we turn our attention back to the Lafayette offense. They'll start this drive from their own 20, 9:57 left in the first quarter. And on that first drive, we saw 3 snaps for Jamar Curtis. Troxel said he was going to tough it out. We saw him in the beginning.
And he took a big nosedive tackle there in the beginning. So he's there and playing hard, Lou.
Well, the clap from Dean DeNoble and a jump from Alfonso Dixon. But they're pointing, the referees are pointing towards the Lafayette O-line. And they'll call it false start, so a jump of celebration for Alfonso Dixon, who was validated in his claim that it was Lafayette that drew him off sides. Make it 1st and 15.
He was pumped up, Lou. I've never seen someone so fired up to not get a penalty called against them.
Trips right, DeNoble in the gun, Curtis to his right. Fordham sends forward, low snap, left side handoff for Curtis, jukes up to the 18-yard line. They'll rule him down at the 19. So 2nd and 11, and so far today, Jamar Curtis does not seem to be hampered at all injury-wise.
No, averages 6.5 yards per carry, and we're seeing that right now. He's also making a couple good plays in the backfield reception-wise, so they got their premier back, and he's putting up some numbers early.
And this is a Lafayette team that gets their game done with their rushing offense. 192 yards per game, 19th in the FCS. DeNoble, the snap, play action, throws right for Gilbert at the 25-yard line. Spun down. It's another 3rd and manageable, but another chance for Fordham to force a 3-and-out here.
DeNoble's pass is complete to number 89, Dallas Holmes.
3 and 4 now, Lou. As you said, very manageable. Fordham, they would like to see another 3-and-out, get that offense back going once again.
8:55 and ticking on the first quarter clock. 3rd and 4 from the 26. They need the 30. DeNoble in the gun, trips left. It's Curtis, the back out right. Snap, Fordham sends 5, coming off the edge. Williams, DeNoble steps up, avoids the tackle, charging forward, and lunges past the first down. Athletic play by sophomore quarterback Dean DeNoble. Stephen Williams came unblocked off the edge. DeNoble sensed it and runned up for 5.
DeNoble not really known for using his legs a ton, but Coach Joe Conlon did say got to be weary of the RPO options that are going to be thrown out there with DeNoble under center. Not a ton of rushing yards, but 4 rushing touchdowns to go along with 14 passing touchdowns. Big numbers both in the air and on the ground for DeNoble.
DeNoble, the brother of Fordham defensive back Jed DeNoble. In the gun, 2 receiver, 2 tight ends set. Snap, play action, throwing over the middle, incomplete. Had open receiver Elijah Stewart, but DeNoble's pass trailed behind him, and if he gets that on him, I think Elijah Stewart's going to the house there.
I think it's a touchdown, Lou, absolutely. There were no safeties in the back. Elijah Stewart completely wide open, had his man beat the entire time, and Stewart, we're going to see a lot more of him today as well. DeNoble's favorite receiver to throw to.
3 receiver, tight end set, 2 either side. DeNoble claps the snap and gets a flinch from Williams and Conway as the linebackers and safeties, not offsides, but Fordham might be showing blitz here on 2nd and 10. Williams creeps up. Here come Conway and Williams. DeNoble throws left side for Stewart. Stumbles at the 39-yard line, but able to stay up. Now brought down by Cam Blair, 2 yards short of the first down.
So now, Lou, it's going to be a test of the secondary for Fordham. How are they going to adapt to DeNoble's short pass game here? They're sending a blitz. That's the 3rd blitz in a row that they've sent, and they've applied the pressure. Going to get some QB hurries in the stat sheet after these 2 plays here, but making some good passes, just a little underthrown in that first one. But this last one, good little gain there for Stewart.
Well, DeNoble leads the Patriot League in completion percentage, 65.1%. 7:15 in the first quarter, 3rd and 1 from the 40. Heavy set formation for Lafayette. Curtis the back to the left. Snap straight away, give Curtis, burst forward, and he's got enough for the first down, a gain of 2. Barreling over Jack Lowe to move the chains. They're up to the 42-yard line.
Well, Coach Troxel refers to him as one of the best backs in the country, and when you are one of the best backs, you get tackled forward. Very similar to Julius Luffridge in this regard, Lou. When a back tackles forward, that's an extra 2 to 3 yards that the ref will pick up on, and they'll give it. If they see that ball a little further ahead, they'll give that running back an extra 2 or 3 yards, and Jamar Curtis definitely exceptional at doing that.
Motion behind the backfield for Persing. Play action. DeNoble throws over the middle through the hands of Elijah Stewart. Once again on that slant route far side, beat Cameron Blair, but unable with the connection is DeNoble and Stewart.
Yeah, a little quick slant route there, Lou. He cuts across the middle. It's the second time they've run this play in this drive. First one, a little underthrown. This one, I would say it's a little high. Stewart maybe could have caught that one. First one, definitely not. But that was another pass play that had the makings of a big game written all over it. Fordham on the lucky end of that stick.
Opening so far against this secondary for the Lafayette offense. Trips right, 2nd and 10. Snap the give to Curtis, left side, tries to juke up, but it's Cam Blair coming off the edge. Makes the tackle at the line of scrimmage. Curtis falls forward for 1.
And on the tackle for Fordham, number 10 Blair, number 99
Sets up 3rd and long, 3rd and 9 from the 43 of their own side. 2 up top, 1 down low. A tight end right. Fordham showing blitz from Conway on that left side.
They got 7 guys going right there. 4 up front, 3 at the linebacker position, 4 in the secondary.
Holmes out to the slot, so now trips right for Lafayette. Fordham sends blitz. DeNoble under pressure, stats up, throws on the run and incomplete. A curl route for Dallas Holmes. Tried to pin it to his body with one hand and couldn't. Good pass rush there by Fordham. Good coverage over the middle. And it's going to be another punting situation for the Lafayette Leopards.
It's a great job by the Fordham defense there, Lou. Really clogging up the middle of the field there. They're trying to get some work done with those slant routes, and that was Dallas Holmes, backup tight end to 81 Mason Gilbert. Couldn't come up with that. And Fordham set to receive it now, and hopefully a little bit of a redo of that first offensive drive.
Conlon talked about last week on 3rd downs doing a lot of base rush packages there. That's the full-out blitz. They're sending 6. Punts away from Trestick to the 17-yard line. Cole Thornton runs out right, dodges a tackle at the 20. Now cutting back, he's tripped up at the 22-yard line. A lot of running for just a 4-yard return, but Fordham gets past the 20-yard line.
Well, he had the right idea, though. He had the right idea there, Lou. He started going to his right, then cut back to his left because the right was getting a little clogged up, and it was open, but then it started to close very quickly, but very
lost his footing there at the end, and with that, still waiting for our first score of this ball game. 5:25 left in the first quarter. 0-0. With that, we'll take a break. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
What's going on, guys? I'm Jack Warner, one of your New York Rangers beat reporters for the 2023-2024 NHL season. I'll have you covered all season long as New York looks to bring a Stanley Cup back to the Big Apple in Peter Laviolette's first season as head coach. Follow me on Twitter at Jack_Warner23 for live game updates, post-game media availability, and all things Blue Shirts.
Back with you, Lou Orlando, Will Tallant. This Patriot League matchup between the Fordham Rams and the Lafayette Leopards. We mentioned it a little bit in the intro, but a lot at stake here for Lafayette. It's been truly a magical season for them in their second year as John Troxel. Troxel came in looking to change the culture here. It's been a bunch of really losing seasons ever since 2009 if you exclude a COVID season in 2021 where they went 2-1, but in terms of full seasons, they haven't had a winning season since 2009, and here they are, tied for first place in the Patriot League. Yes, coming off a conference loss, but destiny in their hands. If they win out and they beat Lafayette, they beat Fordham and Lehigh, because they beat Holy Cross with a tiebreaker over them, they would claim the Patriot League title. That's something that you haven't been able to say about Lafayette in a long time.
Not in 10 years. And with one more win, either a win today or a win next week, it will be their first season with 8 or more wins since 2009. So a lot of firsts resurfacing here, Lou, for Lafayette, but they're right up in the thick of it with Holy Cross. Definitely, you may not have expected that, but Coach John Troxel, he's done a great job. Also, an alumni of Lafayette, graduated in '94. He came over after a 16-year tenure at Franklin Marshall, brought a couple players with him, so he's done a great job of changing the culture around here.
Montes takes the snap. Lafayette sends 5. The run up the gut for Luffridge, bounces out left and just charging forward, moving the pile up to the 31-yard line. Luffridge was met at about the 25, but took it up for 4 or 5 more yards. Empty backfield on 2nd and 2, 3 up top, 2 down low. Lafayette sends blitz. 6 guys come. Montes hit as he throws, and throw sails out of bounds, looking for Makai Felton on that near side, but No time for C.J. Montes to throw the ball there as Lafayette sends 7.
And typically that could be a pass to Julius Luffridge. Nobody in the backfield there, so they'll give it to Mekhi Felton. But that was what we were talking about before, Lou, at the beginning of the game. They're going to have to get some screen plays to go through. That right there to Mekhi Felton didn't quite go their way, but going to have a big third down conversion, 3rd and 2.
Credit Preston Forney with the QB hurry. It's now 3rd and 2 from the 31. 2 receivers either side. Luffridge offset right. Snap, give to Luffridge. Plenty of space up the middle, bursting forward past the 40-yard line. Now tripped up. It's Forney again with the tackle, but wide open gap up the middle for Luffridge, and he picks up the first down and then some.
Yeah, great job there by the offensive line. Julius Luffridge, he cuts right in, starts going right, then cuts left, just getting enough yards that he needed to get those chains to move for the Rams.
4:35 and ticking on the first quarter, still no score. Montes takes the snap, sets up, throws left over the head of Garrett Cody. Had him on a quick little out route, had some space, but Cody worked down. Montes threw that a bit up and just a misconnection.
Garrett Cody, one thing that he's done a lot better this year that I've noticed, Lou, is what he did on that play. Obviously the ball didn't find his hands, but creating separation. He was very well separated from his defensive back there. So definitely can anticipate him getting involved in the mix here shortly.
Montes snap, right side give for Julius Luffridge, met off the edge and going nowhere. This Lafayette defense setting the edge. That's Blamasi Mete at the forefront. And that's another thing that Troxel talked to us about against Luffridge is setting the edges and limiting him to, again, 3, 4, 5-yard gains. That one, a gain of nothing.
But you have to understand, too, Lou, setting those edges, Troxel has an incredible depth in his linebacking core. Blamasi Mete, just one of those guys that he can plug and play on the edge there.
3rd and 10. They need the 48 of Lafayette. 3:50 and ticking on the first quarter. Ball in the near hash. Lafayette only sends 4. Montes drops back, throws right. Jeff Ciccio at the 50 turns up and picks up the first down out of bounds at the 46-yard line. On 3rd and 10, C.J. Montes finds his tight end Jeff Ciccio for the first time today.
Ciccio, only 8 receptions for 43 yards, but wide open right there, just on the near sideline. Good little completion there for Montes. Ciccio just goes out of bounds. 4th and 1. Big conversion here, Lou. Fordham, 68% on 4th down conversions on offense, needing just a yard.
Well, they initially spotted Ciccio past the first down. Now they'll say he stepped out at the 50, so call it 4th and 1. They need the 49. Montes snaps, straight give. Julius Luffridge sifts by a defender and gets the first down. Tackled at the 47-yard line. Luffridge a tough run for 3. And able to move the chains. Conlon going for it on 4th and 1. From basically midfield, a gutsy call. But it pays off.
Those kinds of situations for Luffridge there, Lou. Not anything that we're not accustomed to seeing him involved in. He always keeps his balance, and like we were saying before, he gets tackled forward, and that's why you can see those 4th downs come so seamlessly for him.
Jack Kaiser enters the backfield and gets the right side handoff off the edge for a couple. They'll say officially a gain of 1 as he's down at the 46, and Jack Kaiser, the sophomore back, has assumed backup running back duties here with a couple injuries. Jamel James recently, Ricky Parks out for the year. And after that run, Julius Luffridge will come back in for 2nd down and 9. Fordham at the Lafayette 46. 2 minutes and ticking on the first quarter clock. Ball in the near hash. 2 up top, 1 down low. Luffridge offset right. Snap, Lafayette sends 5. The dump off for Julius Luffridge and through the hands. Looked like Luffridge didn't get his head around in time and wasn't ready for that quick drop off from Montes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Lou, it just seemed like in baseball he didn't see the ball all the way into his glove. Luffridge, he didn't see the ball all the way into his hands. That's exactly the kind of play that we can anticipate Luffridge running a little bit more, a little screen either to the left or right, get a few 5 to 7 yards, and sometimes with Luffridge in the backfield there, could be 15.
2 receivers either side. They need the Lafayette 37. 5 in the box for Lafayette, just 3 on the line. Montes drops back, throws middle. Jeff Ciccio at the 36-yard line, just enough for the first down. CCO's second reception of the game. Just a curl route on those near side numbers. And early on, Fordham doing a good job of finding open space. We know they love those curl routes, especially against zone. Two receiver, two tight end set, both tight ends outright. That's Luffridge, sidecar left. Fresh set of downs, play action. Montes drops back, looking left, throws middle. Garrett Cody at the 16-yard line, ducks by a tackle, now brought down. The secondary effort from Ryan Brown, but Garrett Cody beat Taylor Smallwood on that skinny post, and Smallwood is playing starting cornerback in replace of AJ Ntangtan, who's injured today.
And he's got a tough test in Garrett Cody, as we were just saying. Lou does a great job of getting separation, and he did it right there. Big-time game for Fordham. They enter the red zone.
55 seconds and ticking on the first quarter. Fordham in the red zone at the 18. Straightaway give to Julius Luffridge. Met right away by Jalen Joseph and brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Call it a loss of 2. The freshman defensive tackle having an impressive season right there, meeting Luffridge right in the backfield.
Absolutely, Lou.
Second down and 12. 30 seconds left on the first quarter. Fordham still in the red zone at the 20-yard line. Trips right. Lone receiver out left is Garrett Cody. 6 in the box for Lafayette. Fordham lets the clock tick down to 15. Snap. Montes looks right now, looks left, facing pressure. It's Jalen Joseph again. Jalen Joseph brings down CJ Montes at the 31-yard line. That will bring the first quarter to an end, and there you finally see Lafayette get all those sacks we've been hearing about. 33 sacks in 9 games. They get their first one here in the first quarter.
Big sack from behind the blind side. It looked like right tackle Nolan Aloya was just beat there. And a big-time pass rush from Lafayette. Something that we haven't seen yet from them, but we've seen it all year. The first sack for this defense early in this afternoon.
Well, the 4th sack of the season for Jalen Joseph brings this first quarter to an end, and with that, we'll send it back to the Rose Hill Studios. Owen Kelty has your one-on-one scoreboard update.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Starting off in the Patriot League, Army is up on Holy Cross 14-0 late in the second, and just kicking off are Georgetown and Bucknell and Lehigh versus Colgate. For top 25 play, the number 3 Michigan Wolverines look to silence the cheating allegations with a win down in Happy Valley, leading Penn State 7-3. Alabama is looking to make a playoff push, blowing out Kentucky 21-7. And number 16 Kansas is on upset watch, trailing Texas Tech 10-0. We have an exciting afternoon slate with number 4 Florida State eyeing an undefeated season hosting Miami. Number 5 Washington and Heisman favorite Michael Penix Jr. looking to make a statement versus number 18 Utah, and 14 Mizzou hosting number 13 Tennessee. Tonight we finish off with a bang with undefeated number 2 Georgia facing their best opponent yet with number 9 Ole Miss, and a barn burner with Caleb Williams and USC facing off against Bo Nix in Oregon. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Owen Kelty.
One quarter of play from Easton, Pennsylvania. The Fordham football Rams taking on the Lafayette Leopards, and no score yet. It was Fordham in the red zone, but just brought out of the red zone on the 4th sack of the season by the freshman Jalen Joseph. That's the guy on that line that's just had such an impressive season, and we were kind of waiting to see, hey, when's Lafayette going to get their first sack of the game? Well, it comes in a big spot to knock Fordham out of the red zone. Spot them at the 29 right now, so still in borderline field goal range for Brandon Peskin as long as 45. You'd like to pick up a few yards here, but I don't think you're thinking touchdown anymore.
No, you can. You just got to get points on the board here, Lou. Nobody scored in the first quarter. All you got to do is just get points on the board. Then trust the defense, get back on offense, and then do the same process. Whenever you can find points, especially against a defense like Lafayette, you got to take advantage of that.
It's not hard to see why this Lafayette pass rush has been so effective this season. Look at all the blitz packages that they draw up. They get really creative with it. And that time, it's the defensive tackle, Jalen Joseph, coming off the edge against Nolan Aloya. So you talk about the creativity. You also have to talk about the versatility and just the sheer depth on this line. There are 15 players in the Patriot League with at least 2.5 sacks. 7 of them are on Lafayette. There are only 2 other teams with multiple players of that category, and it's only 2. So Lafayette just has such depth, and they're getting such production from that line that no one else in the Patriot League is getting.
At the very least, 2 of those 7 are also freshmen, Lou. The kind of depth that this defensive line has on Lafayette for John Troxel, not only in his linebacking core, as he was saying before earlier this week, but the defensive line, that front 4, man, he could really utilize a whole bunch of different guys, different kinds of rotations, and the fact that a majority of them are underclassmen, it's pretty daunting for other Patriot League offenses for the next few years to come.
And with that sack by Joseph, now 3 of the 4 guys on Lafayette's starting line have at least 4 sacks this season. The field switches. It's now Fordham moving right to left. 3rd and 21 from the 29-yard line. From here, it'd be a 46-yarder for Brandon Peskin. 2 receivers either side. Luffridge offset right. Blitz coming off the edge. Montes hangs in the pocket. Jukes by a tackle on the run. Throws far side. The diving attempt by Garrett Cody goes through his hands. But a flag on that far side of the field looked like it came in the secondary. They'll say offsides on the defense. Looked like an early jump on that far edge. And that will move Fordham up 5 at minimum. Makes this an easier field goal here for Brandon Peskin.
Yeah, and if you're the Rams here, Lou, you got to think about just giving it a good run. You know, you want to have a lot of faith in your offense, right? But the kind of defense that they're going to be facing for the rest of the game and what they've anticipated all week, just getting points on the board, as we said, could be the way to go.
Now 3rd and 16. They need the Lafayette 9 for the first down. And 2 receivers either side. Cole Thornton and Mekhi Felton in the slots. And Luffridge offset right. Snap. Montes, the straight leg give. Julius Luffridge bursting forward past the 15. Stays on his feet and into the end zone. Touchdown, Fordham. The referees will rule him down at the 4-yard line. Julius Luffridge is celebrating a touchdown. I'm not sure he was ever touched down. To me, that looked like they tried to spin him down. I never see a knee or anything like that go down. But they haven't signaled touchdown yet. The ruling on the field now is touchdown, so
it's going to be under review, though.
They will review it right away. Julius Luffridge bursting forward off that B gap was met. The 12-yard line was spun around but stayed on his feet.
Something that he did against Bucknell that we were noticing from last week. Gets pushed forward and going down, but yet still remains on his feet in that play right there, Lou. And it's just enough. His resiliency and his persistence, he stays up and he wanders into the end zone. So we're talking about settling for a field goal, and here Julius Luffridge is against the best pass rush in the conference, and he wanders in for a big score. Hopefully it stands at the end of this review.
3rd and 16, Luffridge takes it to the house. It was an odd play. The referees never signaled touchdown on the field, and you had a referee lining up on the sideline as if to spot the ball at the 4-yard line. But Fordham celebrating as if it's a touchdown. The score goes up on the field. The PA announcer says touchdown. And they go and review this one right away. And clearly they're looking to see if any part of Luffridge's body hit the ground. Again, there was one point where he came awfully close. He had a couple of Lafayette guys trying to drag him down. But, I mean, this is something we've noticed from Julius Luffridge all season long. He's a guy that just refuses to go down.
Yeah, bouncing back and forth, ricochets. He bounces off of his defenders. He doesn't go down with them. He lets them, or at least lets them try to take him down with him, and that's not a very easy task. From what you were saying before, Lou, I think the only official to make the touchdown call was the side judge, Kevin Brunell, but I believe he was the only one. Everyone else looked in confusion, so we'll see what the conclusion of this replay will be. I don't know, though, Lou. I really don't. It was kind of tough to tell from up here. It didn't appear at first that he went down, but we will see.
I don't think there's any doubt that he picked up the first down. But the touchdown is in question. If this stands, one of the most impressive runs we've ever seen from Julius Luffridge. And the referees coming out to make a call. They're going to put Luffridge down at the 11-yard line. So that's where that tackle was made, right? Initiated contact at the 13. Luffridge spinning around. So not only does that rule Luffridge down at the 11-yard line, It puts them 3 yards short of the first down marker, and here comes Brandon Peskin in the field goal unit.
And they're showing that replay on the Jumbotron there, Lou. It does appear that Luffridge's left knee did hit the ground at the 11-yard line. So Fordham needs a big field goal here from Peskin, get some early points on the board and the first lead of the game.
Peskin from 29, kick is up. And good through the uprights. Fordham takes a 3-0 lead. 14:33 left in the second quarter, and it's Fordham getting on the board first.
Big score there, Lou. I know it's just a field goal, and we went through all that pomp and circumstance just to be told it was not a touchdown and that Julius was down by the 11-yard line. But points are points at the end of the day. When you're facing a kind of defense that Lafayette has, you got to find points in any which way that you can. Peskin automatic from that range. So take your 3, trust your defense, and get back to work.
With that, we'll take a quick break. It's Fordham now leading 3-0. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
What's going on, guys? Bridge Gotham here, your New York Giants beat reporter for WFUV Sports. Be on the lookout for weekly reports and game recaps on WFUV's YouTube channel. We'll be covering the action all season long. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at BGBridge for updates throughout the games. For all things Big Blue, stay tuned all season long.
It's no touchdown for the Fordham Rams. The Julius Luffridge touchdown is wiped off the board. But Fordham does get 3 to take the first lead of this game, a 3-0 lead. And now you turn to this Lafayette offense that has been stymied so far. We've talked about them as a first-half team and a first-quarter team specifically. No points in the first quarter, so this Fordham defense holding strong. And we saw the Fordham defense play so well against Bucknell. You wondered, would that carry over to one of the top offenses in the Patriot League? So far it has.
Fordham's defense, Lou, holding their own. The only thing I'm going to say is, well, I'm going to slow our roll just a little bit. That was Fordham's second offensive drive. Now we're going to see Lafayette's second or third offensive drive, and it's only built up since. We saw Dean DeNoble really utilize that RPO that Coach Joe Conlon was emphasizing during pregame, and really finding his receivers open in the flats. You look at Elijah Stewart as well, open 3 times, targeted 3 times, made 1 catch. So pass game starting to get a little more active. Could see a lot more back and forth action here at Fisher Stadium.
Almost set for the ensuing kickoff. You talk about Dean DeNoble. It's a familiar name. He's the brother of senior defensive back Jed DeNoble on the Fordham Rams, and I think got some fun commentary from both sides. We talked to Troxel, and he said, we didn't bring it up too much to him, but we did ask Dean, who's better, you or your brother? And he said, I am. But then Dean went on to say that, hey, you ask any of my brothers, they'd say the same thing. Peskin's kick is away. Line drive kick. Fair catch by Troy Bruce. And they'll start this drive at the 25-yard line. And it will be DeNoble coming out. And you talk about Dean DeNoble. Did not start the opening game of this season. Ryan Schuster did. Schuster won the game in preseason, although DeNoble did beat out Ashawn Davis and Mighty for the backup quarterback job. Then Schuster injured with a concussion in the first game. They gave the keys to DeNoble, and once Schuster got healthy, they felt so comfortable with DeNoble and what he had done that they let him take over the rest of the way.
And it's just kind of unfortunate overall for Schuster because last season injuries plagued him as well. Was the starter as a true freshman in 2022. 4 games played, 406 yards and 2 touchdowns, then went down with an injury in week 4, and that was it for him for the rest of the season. Dean DeNoble comes in and has taken over now as the starting quarterback in his sophomore campaign.
Empty backfield, 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, 3 down low, 2 up top. The left side screen for Jamar Curtis. This one blown up behind the line of scrimmage. An excellent tackle by Nahil Perkins, read that one right away and called a loss of 1.
Nahil Perkins, excellent job avoiding the block from tight end Mason Gilbert, the back-to-back Patriot League first-team honoree. Great tackle and a loss of 1.
2nd and 11, a clap for DeNoble, a flinch from the O-line, no flag. 14:05 left in the second quarter. Fordham now leads 3-0. wind, as you can hear in our crowd mic, whipping a bit here at Fisher Stadium. Blitz off the edge, the handoff to Curtis up the middle, breaking open past the 50-yard line, still going into Fordham territory, chased down by Paul Swinson at the 30-yard line, but the explosive run from Jamar Curtis, there you see his speed in open space and completely flipping field position here.
Speed, but also acceleration. He took off as soon as he hit the 45-yard line. Nobody in sight, broke a few tackles, shed them pretty easily, down to the 30. Big run there for one of the premier backs in the Patriot League.
DeNoble has some trouble with the snap, now sets up, rolling right, throws on the run, brought in at the 25-yard line, trying to work up is Carl Smith, the senior captain. And he'll do his best to get up to the first down marker, and they're going to give it to him. Smith spins up and gets 5 more yards after catch. And that's a fresh set of downs. Lafayette knocking on the door of the red zone.
Carl Smith, just his 5th game played this year. That was also just his 2nd reception in his senior campaign. So just trying to do numbers where you can do numbers, when you can do numbers. And Lafayette inching towards the red zone for the first time today.
On the 21, 1 receiver either side, 2 tight ends in the line. Snap, play action. DeNoble throws right side. Mason Gilbert in the flat, works up past the 10-yard line. He'll get up to the 9. Lafayette in the red zone on that quick flat route. And they'll say down at the 7-yard line. Lafayette 7 yards away from the end zone. Wide receiver stack near side. Fordham loads the box. DeNoble the snap, straightaway give to Jamar Curtis. James Conway right in there for the tackle at the line of scrimmage. And they'll say no gain.
James Conway, 107 total tackles, 14 total tackles versus Bucknell. Big-time linebacker for the Rams. Took home Patriot League Freshman of the Year in 2021. He's had 100-plus tackles in every season that he's played so far. That'll be 3 seasons as a Fordham Ram, and looking to avoid a score at the very least here.
2nd and goal from the 7. Fordham sends blitz to Noble, looking left, throws the back shoulder fade into the end zone. Touchdown, Lafayette. Elijah Stewart, his 4th touchdown of the season. Lafayette takes the lead here in the 2nd quarter on a nice throw from Dean DeNoble.
Elijah Stewart, that's his 4th touchdown of the year. He was guarded by number 10, Cameron Blair. Blair back turned the entire time. Stewart had him beat from the jump. Kind of looked like those first 2 passes that were targeted to Stewart. This time, catches it in the end zone. A big score for Lafayette. They go up by 3 pending PAT.
You know, we asked Conlon for a little bit of a scouting report on DeNoble. He said he does like those back shoulder fades, and that was a perfectly placed one for the first touchdown of this game. Jack Simonetta, the freshman, on for the extra point. Snap the hold. And the kick's good. Lafayette, a 7-3 lead, 11:32 left in the 2nd quarter. And with that, we will take a break. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Michael Kay, WFUV class of 1982. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One on One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Lafayette taking a 7-3 lead early here in the 2nd quarter. The sophomore Dean DeNoble throwing to the sophomore Elijah Stewart, and I think you get the sense why the Lafayette fans are so excited about what's being built in this program. Is that, you know, especially you look at the offense, all of their major players are young guys. DeNoble, their starting quarterback, he's a sophomore. Jamar Curtis leading the Patriot League in rushing yards per game as a sophomore. Their lead receiver Elijah Stewart just brought in his 4th touchdown. He's a sophomore, so a lot of youth in this offensive unit. and a lot of things that could develop in the next 2 years, but already playing at an excellent level right here this season.
A lot of youth just all over this roster, too. One guy that we were prepping for a lot this week, running back Troy Bruce, right, Lou? He's not going to play as much today because Curtis is back, but Troy Bruce, a freshman, younger than these sophomores. So the fact that these sophomores are not only playing, but making plays and are well on their way to one of Lafayette's best seasons in the last 15 years. Very, very special stuff going on here.
Troy Bruce, last week against Colgate in the loss, ran for 138 yards and a touchdown. He's a guy that you'd probably say is, third on their depth chart, the freshman back, and was able to step up in a big way. So you've got a lot of young talent on this Lafayette team. I think, as you said, on both sides of the ball as well, right? We just saw Jalen Joseph make a big play at the end of the first quarter. And it's Lafayette taking a 7-3 lead. Lafayette, of course, playing to stay in contention for the Patriot League title. Now, if they lose today, it doesn't mean that they can't get the Patriot League title. It just means that you then have to hope that Holy Cross loses to Georgetown. And that's not something you really want to bank on.
Tough task there, Lou. Georgetown, they did beat Fordham this year. That was a very, very intense and crazy game. And Fordham gave Holy Cross another run for their money, second year in a row, but came up just short this year by 2 points instead of 1. But it's going to be interesting to see a different team at the top of the Patriot League other than Holy Cross.
MJ Wright on the return, trying to work out wide. A flag comes after the play on a big tackle. I'm curious to see if this is on the return. Usually when they come from the back jub, they are. Billy Schaefer flying in to make the tackle at the 16-yard line against MJ Wright, who's trying to break it outside. The referee's deliberating. Block in the back, going against Cole Thornton. And what was already not the best return will now move Fordham back even more inside their own 10-yard line as they'll place them at their own 8. So the Fordham offense backed up here after getting their first points of the game. Pressure on for CJ Montes in this offense to respond following the first touchdown of the game for Lafayette.
I know it's just a few yards there, Lou, but still every yard counts getting down the field, and just to be moved back before you even start this drive, it's a tough way to start.
11:26 left in the second quarter. 2 receiver, 2 tight end sets. Shorey give Julius Luffridge up to the 10-yard line, stopped there. Called a gain of 2. Nice job by Lafayette to fill that middle run lane pretty quickly. And now an injury as we've got a timeout here for Fordham. This is Cody Johnson, the senior center, and seems to be grabbing at his hand. So you don't want to see a hand injury for your center. You got to be able to snap the ball. Cody Johnson's a guy that has dealt with some injuries so far this season, but has been able to stay largely healthy. Has started in all 9 games, despite a couple where he had to come out. He's walking to the sideline, but clearly in some pain.
Kevin Laughlin also taking some snaps on the far sideline there, so expect to see him as the backup center. Made a few appearances this year, but very unfortunate for Cody Johnson, as you were saying, Lou. Has suffered a few different injuries this season in his senior year. It is nice to see the sophomore Laughlin getting some looks in place of Johnson to see what Conlon has in terms of offensive line depth going forward for next season.
Fordham brought in a couple of freshman offensive linemen, but Laughlin, a sophomore that got some playing time against Lehigh when Johnson had to come out with those injuries. It's an injury timeout right now, so let's take a quick break. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports. How's it going, everybody? I'm Lou Orlando.
And I'm Colin Lochran.
And we're 2 of your main hosts for WFUV Sports' NHL podcast, 5 on 3.
We'll keep you updated on the Rangers, Islanders, Devils, and of course, the Stanley Cup Final.
Home ice for all things NHL, 5 on 3. We're back after an injury timeout for Fordham center Cody Johnson. It's Fordham trailing 7-3 with 11-12 left in the second quarter. This Fordham offense starting this drive inside their own 8 after a penalty on the kick return from MJ Wright. And that was already tough sledding for them. You put an injury to your center, your starting center, a guy that's played in every single game. That complicates things a little bit.
Yeah, not a great start to any drive by any means there, Lou. Losing yards from what you gained by getting the ball back and then losing your starting center. Definitely not a recipe for success, but Fordham, you got to keep it going, got to get some offense brewing, get back into this one, get back into field goal range, find the red zone, keep Lafayette's defense on their toes.
It's Laughlin and Leonard, the sophomores, on the line right now for Fordham with Joyce and Johnson out. Play action, Montes facing pressure in the pocket, rolls out right, look to tuck it and run, past the 10-yard line, up a couple more, they'll say out of bounds at the 14-yard line to make it 3rd and 5.
And there it is, Lou. Tuck and run, as Troxel said, needed to see it, and they got it. But great job by the Fordham offensive line there. Gave Montes oodles of time to throw the ball. Just no receiver was open. Montes will take a few yards down the sideline there and look for this first down.
Trips left. They need the 19-yard line for the first. Calling it 3rd and 5. MJ Wright lined up outside in single coverage. Snap, Montes looking left, throws middle, the diving grab, Mekhi Felton at the 20-yard line. And Felton taking a hit afterward, but able to hold on to the ball. Athletic play right there by the junior slot receiver.
Kai Felton kind of goes under the radar a little bit in some games here, Lou. He's very sneaky, kind of hard to find him sometimes at 5'9", and he can move, though.
First down, Montes looking left, throws middle. Garrett Cody the catch at the 35-yard line. And again, Fordham moves the chains now up with an extra 5 yards to the 35. And this Fordham passing attack getting Fordham out from inside their own 10. Close to midfield right now. 1st and 10 from the 36. Luffridge offset right. Montes claps to the snap. Shorey give to Luffridge. Tackle off the line by Dubois coming from his cornerback position to make that play. Holds Luffridge to a gain of 3.
Dubois, 31 total tackles on the season in 9 games played and doing exactly what Coach Troxel needed from his secondary, coming in and making plays, especially on the rush defense. Not going to get through that line every single time, so you're going to need your cornerbacks and your safeties to step in.
9 minutes left in our first half. Play action. Montes hops in the pocket, now facing pressure, rolls left, open space ahead, picks up the first down, darts out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
Now, I just got to give a lot of credit to Fordham's offensive line there. They're doing exactly what the game plan is, getting C.J. Montes to tuck and run, this time to the left side of the field near sideline. And a great job by Montes. This offensive line, though, giving him a lot of time to throw the ball. Just nobody seems to be open all the time, and Montes doing what he needs to do.
Montes in the gun, 2 up top, 1 down low, play action, quick side, left screen for Garrett Cody, works up past midfield, carrying a defender up to the 46-yard line. A couple yards short of the first down as he drags Sekou White up for a few.
3rd reception of the day for Cody. He had 3 against Bucknell, 129 yards, including a 91-yard touchdown. So Garrett Cody continues to put numbers together.
2nd and 2, Montes snap, straightaway give, Jack Kaiser works off right tackle, up past the first down to the 40-yard line of Lafayette. It's Fordham in opposing territory. And now another injury. This looks like, again, on the offensive line. I think that might be Duke Leonard, who's come in replace of Ryan Joyce. Joyce came into the season after being named 2nd team All-Patriot League on the O-line last year. Has battled with some injuries, only appeared in 4 games this year. Duke Leonard has started 5 games in his stead. And now it's Duke Leonard lying on his back at the 41-yard line, and Fordham's depth might start to get tested here.
Starting to dwindle a little bit here, Lou, where they were on their backup in Duke Leonard at right
now
guard.
You got to go to
and
your
now you gotta
backup.
You got to go to the third string. They have the depth to do it, but it's going to make it tough, especially with how this offensive line's been looking in this first half, giving Montes a lot of time to throw the ball, really protecting him, and he's only been sacked one time. And, you don't want to see any sacks, but the fact that they've only allowed one Lafayette sack in this first half is pretty impressive. So now they're pulling at strings to find who is going to continue this success with the front offensive line.
You talk about the one sack, but I think just in general, right? Lafayette's drawn up some blitzes and they've gotten some pressure, but it hasn't been insurmountable. And Montes has been able to hang in the pocket, go through his reads, then scramble if he has to. And when he's been able to scramble, there's been openings for him there. I mean, you think back to that first scramble that gets called back because of offensive holding. That was basically a 20-yard gain. He picks up 13 on a left side scramble here, where it's clearly that time that Montes has time for 1-2 progression, and then still has time, and with his shifty ability, able to evade some of that pressure.
And it's really nice to see, just looking back at his season as a whole. Not saying that he didn't do this in the beginning, but the way that he's allowed plays to develop over the course of the season has been very enjoyable to watch. A nice growth movement, especially with him only being a sophomore. The fact that he can go through the offense like this, he's making better and quicker decisions at the same time. So Montes putting together a really solid game so far individually in this first half.
We keep going back to that Albany game because it was such a gut punch for the Fordham Rams, but I think the big takeaway in that first game of the season was, hey, C.J. Montes didn't look comfortable in the pocket, and yes, you're going up against one of the elite defensive lines in football in that Albany team, but Montes didn't look comfortable going through his reads, ran into sacks in that game, and that's something that after that game he was really able to get out of his system, has looked comfortable in the pocket since, and here has done a nice job of sensing pressure off the edges and knowing when to step up and find those run lanes.
And, well, that's what you got to do, especially if you prepped for it all week in practice. You knew it was coming. It's going to continue to come all game long. But Fordham doing a great job of avoiding that blitz pressure so far.
Montes the snap. Right side give Julius Luffridge through the C-gap. Shakes the tackle. Works up for a few. They'll call it a gain of 3 as he blew right by the attempted tackle of Tristan Roundtree. Three-yard gain. Sets up 2nd and 7 from the Lafayette 38. 2 receivers down low, 1 up top. Luffridge out there, offset left. Allen motions to the far slot. Play action. Montes senses pressure, steps up, some green grass ahead. Past the 35-yard line, eyeing that sideline. Past the 30, out of bounds. At the 27-yard line, another good gain for C.J. Montes. Troxel said he wanted to force C.J. Montes to run, and Montes is making him pay.
And Lafayette's really emphasizing the right side of the blitz there. Montes continues to scramble to his left, and it's wide open every single time.
It's Hank Perry, the junior offensive lineman, that's at right guard right now after the injury to Duke Leonard. But Fordham, 1st and 10 from the Lafayette 28, still able to move the football. Snap. Delay give to Julius Luffridge up the middle. Gets a couple. As he outstretches for the 25-yard line, they'll say he gets there, so give him 4.
Lafayette's done a good job of sniffing that out. A little delayed handoff to Luffridge, give him a few yards, but it works out for Fordham, though, because when you have a back like Luffridge who will give you 2 to 3 extra yards just because how aggressive he is, could turn into a big gain, a bigger gain than originally anticipated.
2nd and 7 from the 25. Montes looking left, dumps off for Julius Luffridge, speeding past the 20-yard line. Goes head-to-head with Taylor Smallwood. There's a flag on the play. Luffridge was knocked out of bounds at the 18. That flag came from the near side judge. They're going to get Fordham for an illegal formation. Take away the 1st down and move Fordham back. And we'll see what the damage is. Right now they got Fordham back to the 30-yard line, so just a loss of 5 on that illegal formation penalty. So 2nd and 12 from the 30. Jamel James enters the backfield for Fordham for the first time since his injury against Holy Cross. 2 receivers up top, 1 down low. A tight end right. Lafayette showing blitz off the edge. They send blitz. Montes facing pressure. Throws left. Garrett Cody, the curl around at the 21, brings it in and steps out of bounds. And right back to 3rd and manageable. 3rd and 3 from the 21-yard line.
Right back to where they started, but to point out what you were saying before, Lou, those curl routes. Montes loves them. MJ Wright and Garrett Cody love them as well. Garrett Cody doing a great job of honing in the ball today, really commanding the offensive and wide receiver presence so far for Fordham.
5:05 left in the first half. Trips out right. James stays out there, offset right of Montes. 3rd and 3, they need the 18. High snap, the give to Jamel James up the B gap. Dives past the first down marker. Ruled down at the 16, a gain of 5. Jamel James, the freshman back, picks up the first down.
Great 3rd down back to have out there is Jamel James. He averages 7.1 yards per carry this season. He's got 1 touchdown, and it kind of reminds me of the tandem of Trey Snead, Julius Luffridge, and now it's Luffridge and Jamel James.
1st and 10, Fordham in the red zone at the Lafayette 16. Still trips out right. High snap. Montes has a jump for it. Throws left side. The curl route to Cody at the 10-yard line. Moves up for a couple more against Dubois. They'll stay down at the 8. So just shy of the first down marker. 2nd and 2. Garrett Cody, an early favorite for Montes today.
Loves those curl routes. He loves them. Lafayette secondary has not adapted to it. Cody, he's made 2 of those catches in this drive, but targeted with that same kind of pass at least 4 times in this first half.
Montes in the gun, 2 receivers up top, 1 down low. Luffridge comes back in. Play action, throwing over the middle, incomplete. Diving attempt for Mekhi Felton. Had some open space. The throw from Montes a little too out in front and can't come up with it.
I thought we were going to get our sneaky Mekhi Felton touchdown of the week. It was right there, but see, you never know where Mekhi Felton's going to be. He just flies across the floor, across the field, I should say. He was wide open there. Had to make a dive, though. Mekhi Felton in really, really motor. Let's see what they do now in the red zone once again.
Lafayette 7, Fordham 3, 3rd and 2 from the 8-yard line. Montes, play action, looking left, drops it off for Jaden Allen at the 10-yard line. That will go for a loss. Jaden Allen knocked down at the 11-yard line. A nice tackle by Sekou White. And it sets up 4th and 3 and forces the kick unit back out there for Fordham. So still set up to get some points, but they won't be able to tie this game for the moment.
It was a great read by linebacker Timmy O'Hearn and Sekou White in the secondary. They're going to force Fordham to take a field goal and try to pull this within 1 with just about 3 minutes left to play in the first half.
Peskin, a 27-yarder on the left hash. Kick is up, but misses left. No good. Brandon Peskin misses the field goal. Just his 3rd miss of the season. And this score stays right here. 7-3 Lafayette. Lafayette takes over on their own 9. A missed field goal from Peskin. His first miss on a field goal from within 30 yards. That will take a quick break. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danny Scott.
I'm Tyler Hu, and we're 2 of your hosts for WFUV's College Gridiron.
We'll discuss all the best games from around the world of college football.
We'll also talk about the rankings and give our thoughts on the Heisman race.
We'll preview the best games of next week and give our score predictions.
Keenan Troy and other co-hosts will join us as well.
Tune in to College Gridiron wherever you get your podcast.
Back with you after a missed field goal from Brandon Peskin. Fordham drives down the field, gets 2nd and 2. They don't run the ball at all. 2 incompletions And then a missed field goal, and Lafayette still leading 7-3 here, Will.
Yeah, Brandon Peskin, Lou, just his third missed field goal, as you were saying before. And he was 6 for 6 on field goals between 20 and 29 yards. That now 6 for 7. So it's an unfortunate miss with 3 minutes left to play, but you got to trust the defense. Hopefully keep this within 4 points with just 3 minutes left.
A tough miss for Peskin. You think back a couple weeks, a missed extra point against Holy Cross that not necessarily set that game off the rails, but forced Fordham to have to go for 2 at the end of that game and may have contributed to that loss. And you look at here, a chance to cut this Lafayette lead to 1. Instead, it's still 7-3. I do want to think back to, right, you got 2nd and 2 from the 8-yard line, and you have Julius Luffridge in your backfield, and now both times you elect to pass. Now, hey, it's tough to criticize that first passing attempt, right? Mekhi Felton open in the end zone, just a little bit of a missed throw. That second one, a drop-off behind the line of scrimmage to Jaden Allen. When you have Luffridge in your backfield, I got to think I like my odds of just giving Luffridge the ball and picking up the first down.
I agree with you there, 100%, Lou. I think that had to go from any back. It didn't just have to be Luffridge. It could have been Dallas as well, but Kaiser or James. However, did not go their way, and the Lafayette defense read that Jared Allen pass very, very well. It stuffed him big time.
Lafayette takes over from the 20-yard line. Trips out left. Curtis the back to the left. It's the give to Curtis up the middle. Now tries to bounce left. Picks up a couple, but Fordham setting the edge. And driving the pile backwards. They'll give Curtis a gain of 2. There's nice teamwork there. From the right side of that Fordham defense, Jack Lowe, Preto, and Andrew Osmond all creeping down.
That'll bring up 2nd and 7 from the Lafayette.
2nd and 7. 2 receivers down low, 1 up top. Fordham sends forward to Noble, throws left side. The grab by Elijah Stewart spins by the tackle from Cam Blair and moves up, picks up the first down, out of bounds at the 34.
Stewart giving Blair all sorts of trouble this afternoon so far. Almost completely broke free of that one. Great anticipation by number 12 there for Fordham. That will be Andrew Osman. Great job to come back and make the tackle. Could have gotten ugly, though.
2:05 and ticking on our first half clock as we near the end of this first half. Just a 7-3 lead for Lafayette. Snap, give up the middle. Curtis now bounces outside right, but James Conway there for the tackle. Wraps up his legs and doesn't allow Curtis to escape there. So a minimal gain of 3 and a nice job by Conway to prevent that from being something bigger.
Yeah, the last few attempts that Curtis has had, this Fordham defensive line and linebacking core done a great job of holding them at bay.
Delay give to Curtis. Breaks through the attempted tackle of Jack Lowe. Moves up for a couple more past the 40-yard line to set up 3rd and 4. This Lafayette offense 2 for 4 on 3rd downs today. Trips right. Curtis sidecar right. Eating the 44-yard line. Just a minute left in this first half. Snap to Noble, delay run and blown up at the 41-yard line. Tabletop by the freshman Andrew Osmond. A big hit to set up 4th down.
Smoked him. Osmond smoked Noble there. There was no chance whatsoever. There's one of those Dean DeNoble RPOs Coach Conlon was talking about, and Osmond, he sniffed it out the whole way through. Big tackle coming up. A big 4th down for Lafayette.
Well, you've got a timeout right now. Referees indicating the timeout of Fordham's calling, so Fordham trying to stop the clock and try and get a drive here. Just 53 seconds left in the first half. I want to go back and talk about that hit from Andrew Osmond. Andrew Osmond, the freshman, has really impressed this season. We were talking about him off air and his impact in this secondary, and he's shown time and time again that he can be a heavy hitter. We've seen him blow players up in the secondary. They're coming up playing the run to Noble and lighting him up.
Just 1 interception for the freshman, but as you said, Lou, he does light a lot of people up. 31 total tackles on the season for Osmond. Just another very reliant freshman to have in the secondary, and he's putting up big numbers this year. He's recorded a tackle in every single game this season so far.
Trestick, the Lafayette punter, stands at the 28-yard line. Cole Thornton set to return on his own 20. Punts away Thornton receives at the 27-yard line with a fair catch. The punt takes 5 seconds off the clock, so 48 seconds for Fordham to design a drive. They've got 2 timeouts. And this Fordham offense, so far today, just 3 points. CJ Montes, 11 of 16 for 105 yards. Julius Luffridge, 12 carries, 50 yards, so not numbers that have blown anyone away. They're picking up solid yards. They're being able to pick up first downs, but now you're looking for a quick strike.
Yep, you have to. You got 48 seconds. You got to do whatever you can. Try to get back into field goal range and at least put up 3. You don't have to do anything crazy. Now, you would like for that to give you the lead, but at the same time, you just want to pull it a little bit closer.
Duke Leonard back in at right guard after an injury scare. Montes in the gun, high snap, Lafayette sends 4. Montes, time in the pocket, now out to scramble, plenty of green gas ahead. Weaving past the 30 up to the 40-yard line, out of bounds at the 41. Call that a gain of 11, and CJ Montes drew the pressure in and then had all that space in the middle.
The right side attack is really, really strong for Lafayette, but it leaves that left side wide open. In the near sideline, Montes has been targeting it. His last 3 rushes have all ended up him going out of bounds to the near sideline. So Montes doing a lot of great things with the legs today.
Clock stops with 39 seconds left. They're at their own 41. The drop-off pass for Luffridge, wide open at the 40, steams past the 50, spins at the opposing 45. The tackle by Smallwood. The clock stops temporarily for the chains to get moved at 32 seconds, and Fordham hustles back and ready to get the snap away. Here's the snap. Lafayette sends blitz. Montes facing pressure, rolls right. And he'll tuck it and keep it himself, able to get back to the line of scrimmage as he's wiped out on that far side by Olivas. Able to get out of bounds with 19 seconds left. Fordham still has 2 timeouts. They pick up a yard. But that took about 10 seconds off the clock.
Montes 25 rushing yards in this first half, Lou. But yeah, that did take some time off the clock there, trying to get the chains reset. That time, he rolled to his right, something we haven't seen him do since the first quarter. He was definitely looking for a deep ball.
2nd and 9 from the Lafayette 44. Montes the snap, quick drop off far side for Julius Luffridge. Sends himself out of bounds at the 42-yard line. 5 seconds tick off the clock. It's 14 seconds left in the half on a 3rd and 7. And we'll see how Fordham plays this. Still 2 timeouts, but only 14 seconds to play with. How much time do you really have here? Same formation for Fordham. Wright and Cody out wide. Montes hops in the pocket. Has time, throws over the middle, incomplete. MJ Wright open, had it in his hands and just dropped it. It's 4th and 6, and now what do you do?
Something that we don't normally see there, Lou.
MJ Wright, such sure hands, one of Fordham's all-time greatest receivers in the top 10 of most all-time receiving categories. Fordham will take a timeout to talk things over. And that catch, or that draw from MJ Wright, would have put Fordham in somewhat
field goal range.
Somewhat field goal range. Would have been tough for Brandon Peskin, probably around his career long, but would have given you the option. Instead, now in 4th and 6, what do? You have 2 timeout, or you have 1 timeout left, so you can still try for a quick hitter with 8 seconds left, and get yourself around. The goal is anywhere past the 30-yard line. That's right around where Peskin can probably hit from, but can you get it there in time? And if you run a quick play, you give Lafayette the ball around midfield.
Still on the 42, though. That catch would have made all the difference, would have made this a little bit of an easier decision for Joe Conlon. But now, what do? You can either look to target the end zone and let Montes run the clock out, or just run it until the clock does eventually run out.
4th and 6, Montes in the gun, steps up, eyeing the end zone, and incomplete. Montes' pass sailed out of bounds. The clock has run out on our first half, so that's how it ends. A low-scoring first half at that will. 7-3 Lafayette, the only touchdown coming out of connection from Dean DeNoble to Elijah Stewart, but I think the story right now is more defense on both sides.
I think the Lafayette defense has been not quite as advertised based on this extensive blitz package that they have. However, 1 sack, only 3 points to Fordham's name. Lafayette's defense, definitely nothing to sneeze about if this would be considered a down game.
Lafayette looking to vie for the Patriot League title. Fordham looking to win out and make a claim for an at-large bid. And through one half of play, it's Fordham trailing Lafayette 7-3. With that, let's send it back to the Rose Hill Studios. Brendan Shorey and Owen Kelty have your one-on-one halftime report.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Welcome into the Rose Hill Studio. Great game we have here with Fordham trailing Lafayette 7-3. A lot of defense in this one, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But first, we have Owen Kelty with the one-on-one scoreboard.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Around the Patriot League, Holy Cross trails Army 14-0. Georgetown leads Big versus Bucknell 16-0, and Lehigh trails Colgate 3-0. In the top 25, the Michigan Wolverines are making a statement without Coach Harbaugh, leading Penn State 14-9. Number 8 Alabama continues their rout of Kentucky, winning 28-7, and Texas Tech still holds the lead over number 16 Kansas 10-0. For the afternoon slate, 9-0 number 4 Florida State hosts Miami. Number 5 Washington looks to get into the top 4 with a win against number 18 Utah, and Joe Milton and Tennessee travel to take on number 14 Mizzou. To cap off the night, the number 2 Bulldogs will host number 9 Ole Miss, and the 2 top draft prospects Caleb Williams and Bo Nix will face off with USC traveling to number 6 Oregon. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Owen Kelty.
Thank you for that, Owen. As I said, your Fordham Rams are currently trailing the Lafayette Leopards 7-3. A lot going on in this game, and Owen and I are here to break it down for y'all. The game started with a scoreless first quarter as offenses struggled early. They started to get going in the second quarter with a couple field goal drives by Fordham, one a make, one a miss, and a touchdown drive by Lafayette. Owen, since these offenses have struggled, what can they do to start getting going?
Well, what we've seen from Fordham so far in the first half is a lot of reliance on their passing game. So far, C.J. Montes, 11 of 16 for 105 yards. For Fordham, something in the second half that they really need to get going to move the ball down the field is they need to get their run game involved more. Julius Ruffridge has 12 carries for 50 yards. He's averaging 4 yards a carry, which is less than usual. But for this team, we need to see more on the run game. That's what really opens up their passing offense. We saw last week once they started getting the ball going in the run, that's when they really opened up their pass. So, I mean, we saw them go down the field. They missed the field goal. It could be 7-6, especially on that last drive to end the half. Drop pass that could have gotten them in field goal range again. So, a couple of mistakes you could look at this team leading 9-7, especially when we were looking at the last drive with the missed field goal, going with 2 passes late in the drive instead of running the ball. Definitely want to look to them to run the ball more in the second half to open up this offense.
Yeah, the run game has been the bread and butter for this Fordham offense all year. They've used the run game to set up the play action, get C.J. Montes going, get him out of the pocket, involve him in the run game as well, and it's something we've seen that Fordham has struggled with this game against a vaunted Lafayette front seven. If you look at Lafayette, though, they're not doing much on offense either. They've only scored 7 points, and that was really their only significant drive. They have a handful of punts this in the first half. Oh, and what can Lafayette do to start getting going?
For them, they've really not moved the ball well at all down the field, and that's something we've seen from Fordham's defense. They've been very up and down all season. We've seen games where they've give up 40 points and see games where it's just super low-scoring game. So for Lafayette, I think they're going to need to go through the air a little bit more. 8 of 11 for 61 yards. We have seen them be able to get a lot of rushing yards with Curtis having 9 attempts, 61 yards, 6.8 average. So the run game is working for them, but it hasn't been able to get them in the red zone, getting them in field goal range. So I think for them to open up their offense more, they're going to have to pass more, and maybe that will help open up the run to get down the field.
And Lafayette's struggling, but you have to give credit where credit's due. The Fordham defense has stepped up. If you look at Lafayette's past 3 games, they've scored 35 points at least in all 3 games. And so that's a testament to what the Fordham defense has been able to stand up and do against this Lafayette offense. When we're talking about this Fordham defense today, they have been blitzing quite a bit. We remember when Lou and Will talked to Coach Conlon, they interviewed him, and we played it before the game, and they talked about getting pressure on quarterback Dean DeNoble today. We've seen Fordham blitz often today. How well do you think it's working?
And so it's been working well this season. So far, the Fordham pass rush has not been there that much this season. So we really need to see that more from them. We didn't see it a lot earlier in the year, but so far, last game, it was a big difference maker for them. They ended up blitzing a lot more in their game versus Bucknell. I believe, yeah, Bucknell. And at the end of the game, they had a ton of pressures that ended up leading to the win. So for Fordham's defense, being able to get pressure has really what's been good for this team. It's working out so far in this first half, being able to only hold Lafayette to 7 points and being able to prevent them from getting in field goal range and move the ball down the field.
Yeah, and the blitz has really rushed quarterback Dean DeNoble. We've seen Fordham this season. They've kind of struggled to get some pressure on the quarterback. Fordham's defense has stepped it up. They have blitzed more, and obviously it's working. Dean DeNoble has been rushed. They haven't been able to get much going down the field. It's been limited to short passes, and Fordham has really been able to stop those. Even they've held Lafayette to only one solid drive where they scored a touchdown, and so I mean the game plan has worked where blitzing the quarterback is very effective today. But when you talk about defense, it's a 7-3 game. There's good defense by both teams here. The Lafayette defense has been great this season. They've been amazing at getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks, but CJ Montes really hasn't faced that much pressure today. I mean, he's been sacked once, but that is really the extent of it. Maybe rushed a few times, but this Lafayette defense hasn't done much of what they've been hyped up to do this season so far. They have sprinkled in a few blitzes to try and get some pressure, but Fordham is playing it very well. Owen, how well do you think Fordham will be able to keep it up in the second half?
I think this team is going to be poised for a big second half. We've seen them go up and down the field, especially this season. They've had a lot much better second halves than first halves. So I think for Fordham, what they need to do early in this third quarter is they got to come out, throwing the ball, run the ball, and get this offense open. I think they were close to breaking through. We've seen them move up and down the field. That last drive, like I said before, they were going down the field, ran out of time, weren't in field goal range, so had to just throw up a Hail Mary. But we've seen them move up and down the field, a couple miscues here and there. We're looking at a team where Fordham could have 3 touchdowns in this game, but they've just had a couple miscues here and there. I think they're definitely in the second half poised for a breakout.
Yeah, and the small mistakes, they really hurt. They don't seem like that significant of a deal, but they do hurt you when they come at significant times like that. If Fordham is able to get this run game going, this Lafayette defense, they're not going to know what to do with themselves. I mean, you said it, Owen. If the run game gets going, the Fordham offense gets going, and then they do really well against this vaunted Lafayette defense. However, this defense is going up against an offensive line that has been injured today. A couple offensive linemen have gone down with injuries for Fordham. What can Fordham do to try and limit anything detrimental from happening, considering how good this Lafayette front seven is?
I think when you're looking at having backup offensive linemen out there, you really aren't going to be able to trust that you can have time in the pocket to go deep. And that's usually what gets this Fordham offense going is huge plays from wide receivers like MJ Wright and Garrett Cody. And you're with a backup offensive lineman, you're not going to really have time to make those plays, get down the field. So a lot of play action I'm expecting in the second half and a lot of running the ball, get the ball out quick slants, and just don't let him hold the ball for a super long time. Because we've seen CJ Montes so far this season, earlier in the season he had issue, he was taking a lot of sacks. And when you're losing offensive linemen, getting down to your second, third stringers, that's going to be a big issue. So I think we're going to see them try to run the ball more, get the ball out of his hands fast, and that's going to be the key for this offense.
And we've seen both injuries happen to the right guard. It was a starting right guard and the backup right guard who got hurt. Do you think that Fordham will try to move most of their play calls to the left side? You think they'll try to run it more left, maybe roll CJ Montes out to the left more than they are to the right?
Yeah, especially if that right side of the line's not going to hold up, you're going to need to roll out to the left, run play action to the left, and especially the left side line has been good so far this season, so you look for them to go there a lot in the second half.
And we do see Fordham's offense has been outpacing this Lafayette offense. 13 first downs for Fordham, 6 for Lafayette. And Fordham is very efficient on third down, 5 of 10 on third down. Do you think that is very sustainable this game?
Yeah, I think it's sustainable for them. And you're even talking about the offense. Fordham's down this game 7-3, but they lead in. They have more receptions, more receiving yards, more first downs. They have more rushing yards, but you're still losing the game. So I think that's a good sign for good things to come for this offense. They're converting on third down. They're converting on first down, too. They have 11 first downs to Lafayette's 6. So I think even though the score doesn't favor Fordham, I think this game so far, it feels like they've been dominating the game. They just need to be able to get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's really one of those games where you see it all the time. It's like the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. I mean, you're outgaining the team, but you're not winning where it really matters in the score, and it's just coming down to finishing crucial drives. I think Fordham they've struggled today, but they haven't really struggled all season, and so I think we can expect to see more of them finishing drives in the second half, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think definitely we've seen so far this season, Fordham has been a higher scoring offense, and seeing them only score 3 points in the first half is extremely unexpected. So I think in the second half they're going to get it going. I mean, missing a field goal, you don't really expect that to happen. So points were left on the board. I'm expecting them in the second half to be able to get in the end zone, though.
Yeah, I mean, aside from this first game, you mentioned that Fordham's offense has been great this season. Aside from the first game of the season against Albany, where they scored 13 points, every game they've played, they've scored at least 26. If you look back at the last few, Bucknell, they scored 27. Holy Cross, they dropped 47. Stony Brook, 26. Lehigh, 38. Georgetown, in a loss, they scored 24. So we've seen this offense is able to get going against every team they've played so far. Lafayette is the exception to this point. Fordham not able to get much going in the first half, but they have a whole second half to do so. The one thing that I think is the most outstanding point of this game for Fordham is the way their defense has really limited Lafayette. You look at their defense performance in the past few games. I mean, they let Holy Cross score 49 on them. Bucknell scored 21 on them, which is still solid. But the fact that you're limiting a team that is 3-1 in the conference, 7-2 overall, to only 7 points in the first half, I think that's very impressive by this Fordham defense.
Especially with Lafayette coming off 3 straight games with over 30 points, holding them to only 7 points in the first half is pretty impressive. Especially Lafayette coming off a big upset loss to Colgate last week, which was a huge game for them. It would have moved them to 8-1 instead of 7-2. And this game means a lot more for Lafayette than it does for Fordham. So you expected Lafayette to come out maybe with a fire under them. They were going to come out firing on all cylinders, but Fordham's done a good job containing their offense, holding them to really nothing. I mean, Lafayette's top leading receiver is Elijah Stewart with 3 receptions for 27 yards. He does have a touchdown, but being able to hold a top receiver to only 27 yards in the first half, I know they haven't done great in the run game, but the run game hasn't been leading to touchdowns for them. So holding them under wraps for the receiving game is what's really been working, and you're going to need to do that in the second half if you really want to stick in this game and win.
And you mentioned it. The underlying storyline of this game is that Lafayette needs this more than Fordham does. Fordham has been mathematically eliminated from winning the Patriot League. Lafayette has not. They're only a game behind in conference play from Holy Cross. Holy Cross is 4-1 in the conference. Lafayette is 3-1. So this game does really mean a lot to Lafayette. And Fordham has come out and kind of shut them down in a way that it doesn't look like it means that much to Lafayette. Fordham, being mathematically eliminated, don't have a lot to play for. They could still get a bid if their season keeps going well and they keep winning games. It's possible to get a bid. Not very likely. But yeah, Fordham not playing for much, and Lafayette really is.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're playing with house money. You just want to win your games out, win these last few games, end the season on a high note. And really coming off last season, you lose your starting quarterback. You're really just looking for this. So far, you win out on the season. You don't beat Holy Cross, but this season can end on a high note, and you can look at this as a successful season so far. And you can ruin someone else's season, which is always a fun time, getting able to ruin someone else's season.
It is always a fun time to ruin a rival's season. What a first half we've had. 7-3, Lafayette is leading Fordham, and that is going to do it from us here at the Rose Hill Studio. We're going to send it back to Lou and Will for some second half coverage.
What's up, everyone? I'm Julia Moss, one of the hosts of WFUV's women's sports podcast, All In. Join us each week as we break down everything from the WNBA, women's collegiate sports, the NWSL, and so much more. We're also joined by recurring hosts including Maddie Bamonte, Taylor Masetta, Sam Bohr, and Annabelle Watson. All In is a production of WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? We've got another half of football here from Easton, Pennsylvania. I'm Lou Orlando. He's Will Tallant. Well, on behalf of our entire WFUV Sports crew, thank you for tuning in to Fordham football on 90.7 FM WFUV Sports. And one half at play. Well, not the most exciting football game we've ever seen. Pretty low scoring. Lafayette gets a touchdown. Fordham gets a field goal. They miss another field goal, so it's 7-3 Lafayette after one half of play. And you've got Fordham trying to play spoiler on Lafayette Senior Day. Lafayette trying to go for the Patriot League title. And I think the biggest takeaway is so far, I think you heard the guys say it in halftime, but this Fordham defense holding a Lafayette offense that has Jamar Curtis back, and we've seen how good this Lafayette offense can be when they're at full strength. And Curtis has been out there. He hasn't really been on a workload at all. Like, he hasn't been on a snap count or anything. We've seen him get majority share of these carries, and they've limited the impact of Curtis. Dean DeNoble's only thrown for 61 yards over the air. It's been a pretty good start for this Fordham defense.
Yeah, they've held Jamar Curtis to just 61 yards. Obviously, that 40-yard explosion that ended up leading to a touchdown. But outside of that, yeah, they have held Jamar Curtis to quite the quiet game. And this Lafayette defense, Lou, we really got to mention it, playing a good brand of football, but not playing, I would say, their brand of football. Just one sack to their name today. Obviously, they lead the Patriot League with 33 in that department. Billy Schaefer as well. 10 sacks, leads the Patriot League in the individual statistical column. He's been quite quiet on defense so far. CJ Montes on the Fordham side of things, 13 for 20. Another thing that we pointed out, Lou, with that blitz package, CJ Montes was going to have to throw the ball a little bit more. Already 20 attempts in the first half for 121 yards.
Well, I mean, let's get into Billy Schaefer a little bit, right? Because that's a guy that we highlighted coming into this broadcast, because I think he's got a chance to get Defensive Player of the Year in the Patriot League. And I think it's really going to come down to him and Jacob Dobbs. Jacob Dobbs leads the Patriot Leagues with a bunch of tackles, averaging 14 tackles a game. He leads the Patriot League in tackles, but Schaefer leads the Patriot League in sacks and tackles for loss. 10 sacks, that's fourth in the FCS. 19.5 tackles for loss, that's second in the FCS. So Schaefer's been an absolute beast. When you look at his total body of work, I think Dobbs has been a tackle machine, but Schaefer's been an absolute game changer. Not today, though, just 2 tackles. Hasn't really had an impact in tackles for loss, interceptions, pass breakup, anything like that. It's been a very quiet day for Billy Schaefer. We haven't had to say his name, and that's a guy that when we talked to Troxel, he said, teams need to account for him. If you don't account for him, he's going to ruin your day. Fordham's accounted for him and hasn't let him hurt them.
And there's a reason why the Vikings came to visit him this week, to see what he does day to day. Could be a big NFL prospect for a school like Lafayette. They had an NFL guy last year on the Ravens, Malik Ham. And Coach Troxel regarded Schaefer as better than Ham. And not just him, but a lot of this program believes that Billy Schaefer is a better football player than Malik Ham, who is in the NFL right now. But yes, very quiet. And one thing to notice, Schaefer comes from the right side, or it has been a lot today. Montes been scrambling to the left, definitely avoiding him, but that left side of the field has been wide open, and Schaefer really been locking down the right, where there really has been a lot of action going on.
Hey, you mentioned Ham, because Ham, last year's Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year, a guy that's playing for the Baltimore Ravens right now. But you're right, Troxel did say that he feels like Schaefer makes more plays, and also said like he feels like Schaefer's the best player in the Patriot League by far. So Billy Schaefer, a guy that's had an absolutely insane season, hasn't really hurt Fordham yet today, and that's, I think, kind of the way you feel about this Lafayette defense. There's so much talent there, but Fordham hasn't let them hurt them. Yes, they've been getting good pressure. Yes, they've been getting some solid pass rush, but it hasn't culminated in significant results. I think when you look at this Fordham offense that only has put up 3 points in one half, I think the onus more falls on Fordham, that it's been self-made mistakes, a couple misconnections from CJ Montes and his receivers. Had Mekhi Felton open in the end zone, missed him. An offensive holding that drew back a play that brought Fordham into Lafayette territory. It feels like the errors have been more self-inflicted than necessarily what Lafayette has done so far.
Prime example, that drop pass with MJ Wright before the half could have made it a 7-6 ball game, or at least given Fordham the opportunity to kick another field goal. But just a kind of a mental error right there. Did not see the ball all the way into his hands, kind of like Luffridge in the first quarter. So we've seen that a lot in this game so far, Lou. A lot of dropped passes that should have been caught, especially if they were wide open. And not to mention, 3 injuries to offensive linemen. Obviously, Ryan Joyce out for this game. His backup, Duke Leonard, we saw him down on the ground for quite a while, too. He was helped up, and then, of course, Cody Johnson suffers another injury, forcing Kevin Laughlin to come into the game. But the reason I bring this up, Lou, got to give credit to this offensive line. They've done a heck of a job keeping Lafayette to just 7 points and having Fordham stay in this, really powering down this Lafayette defense.
It's been a tightly contested matchup, and look at this battle in the Patriot League coming down to Lafayette and Holy Cross. Holy Cross 4-1 in conference. They play a non-conference opponent in Army this week. Sluka has returned at the helm of this Holy Cross offense, but they're trailing 14-0. And all eyes will be on that Georgetown game next week, regardless of the outcome here. But Lafayette can put themselves in an excellent spot to win their first Patriot League title since 2013. They've been waiting a long time for a season like this. But Fordham has a chance to spoil the magic, and they'll start this half with the ball as it's MJ Wright set to return. A chance for this Fordham offense to flex their muscles a little bit more. One of the top offenses in the FCS hasn't been able to show it so far today. Set for second half action. Darren Wu charges, puts toe to leather. Kicking left to right, the kick goes out of bounds. Fordham will start this drive from their own 25. And you think about all the things that make this Fordham offense tick. Well, we talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the game, but right, Julius Luffridge has been the guy the last 4 games, and I think you look at this Lafayette defense so far, the elite rushing defense in the Patriot League. I think they've done a nice job of stymieing Julius Luffridge. You can talk about limiting a lot of the big runs. He's had a couple big games receiving-wise, 2 receptions for 16 yards, but it hasn't felt like Luffridge has been a game-breaker just yet.
Only 48 yards today, Lou, and 2 yards for a loss. A very quiet day for Julius Luffridge, but he's been doing the little things right. These delayed snaps, delayed gives, he's been getting a nice 3-4 yard gains on that, which you don't normally see. Those are usually like 1 to 2, 3 to 4 yards from Luffridge with the delayed snap. Big stuff there, so keep an eye out on the little things that Luffridge does right today.
Fordham from the 25-yard line. Montes claps the snap, facing immediate pressure, ducks a sack, now scrambling right, some space ahead past the 30. Goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line after some pressure at the second level from Billy Schaefer.
Interesting to note here, did not go with the blitz first play from scrimmage. Kind of surprised there. Obviously, you can expect some more blitzes to come if you're Lafayette, but the fact that they played more of a zone defense there, a little surprising. Didn't really see a whole lot of that in the first half.
2nd and 4 as Ciccio goes out wide. They give up the middle to Luffridge. Not a ton of space, but able to drive forward, met at the line of scrimmage, but still able to pick up 3 yards. And sets up a 3rd and 1 right here.
3rd and 1. This is prime Julius Luffridge territory for the Rams. This is a kind of situation where you're going to want to feed it right back to your premier running back, get that extra yard, and keep this drive going. Start this second half with a statement.
A 2-receiver, 2 tight end set, snap. They give to Luffridge up the middle, sent backwards. A huge tackle by Terrell Cannon. And Luffridge isn't going to be able to get to the first down, was put on his backside. 4th and 1, decision time for Joe Conlon. He sends the punting unit out there from their own 34-yard line. So on 3rd and short, Fordham not able to convert. A strong Sam by that defensive line, and that's what we expect to see from this Lafayette defensive unit.
Terrell Cannon, one of the older players on this defensive line. Depth, 21 total tackles. Add another one to his tally there in 9 games played this season. Really growing into his role as one of the starting defensive linemen here in his 3rd year.
Haslett, a short punt, bounces at the 33 and takes the Fordham bounce inside the 30. It will stop at the 27-yard line. You mentioned Cannon as one of the younger guys. He's only a junior, so one of the things that I think impresses you so much, and even Troxel had mentioned about the defense in that front 7, is that, you know, the players there are doing this. There's a lot of younger guys, some freshmen, some sophomores in there, that when your older guys on that front 4 are juniors, I think that says a lot about what they've been able to do.
No sacks this year, Lou, but still a very important part of this D-line rotation, you know. Got to bring up the sacks, especially with Lafayette. If they don't have it, it's kind of a surprise, but when you make plays like that, it's hard to take guys like Cannon off the field, especially if they're not emphasizing your strongest point on defense, hit a little bit of those weaker areas.
I think you see in that first drive, I thought the pressure was a bit more impactful there from that Lafayette defense, and obviously you have a play where Montes is able to spring free and get up for 7, but that was a play he was nearly sacked on. It took a very impressive duck from him to sense the pressure from behind from Tim O'Hearn, but that was a lot closer to getting sacked than we've seen in the first half.
And surprisingly enough, Lou, in a zone coverage too. They usually send like 6 guys up there, 5 to 6 guys on a blitz. They did not do that there, and still decent enough pressure, and Montes almost going down yet in zone coverage.
You turn your attention to the Lafayette offense. They lead by 4, but just 7 points and a touchdown from DeNoble to Elijah Stewart. And, a lot of credit has gone to Dean DeNoble and his ability to manage these games. But even Troxel said, DeNoble's not a guy that's throwing for 300, 350 yards a game, but he's been able to do the little things, careful with the ball, not turning the ball over, completing a high percentage of passes. But clearly, if we're going to see this offense be explosive, it's going to have to be through Jamar Curtis, the top back in the Patriot League, breaking out in his sophomore year after starting last year, but only for about 400 or so yards. This year, he's close to 1,000 yards on the season. And so clearly, if this Lafayette team's going to move the football the entire time, they're going to have to get something to Curtis.
And just a little bit of a note here, since you brought it up, Lou. He was at 963 to begin play today, so he passed it, and he's passed it well.
1,020 yards, the first time in Jamar Curtis's career that he surpassed the 1,000-yard mark. Last week, Julius Luffridge surpassed the 1,000-yard mark, becoming the 11th running back in Fordham history to do that. So a couple good running backs on hand for this one. DeNoble the snap. It's the give to Curtis. Bounces off right tackle, but going nowhere. This Fordham defensive front holding strong and now pushing Curtis all the way back to the 10-yard line.
There goes Claudie Robinson, Lou. A little bit of celebration right there as him and his fellow Don Bosco Prep graduate teammate Mike Courtney there to make a stop.
A really nice job by Fordham there. Setting the edge, goes for a loss of 1. And again, outside of that one huge breakout 40-yard run from Jamar Curtis, we haven't seen him beat them consistently. Fordham's had a real nice presence on the edge, and you see that there.
Definitely, Lou. Nice presence on the edge right there. Really doing a great job of clogging up the middle.
DeNoble off the snap, rolling right. The designed rollout connects with his receiver, Chris Caracia, along the sideline, out of bounds at the 36 to set up 3rd and 2. First reception today for the junior Chris Caracia.
217 yards, 4 touchdowns for Caracia. Very quiet in the first half. Obviously, Lou getting his first catch now.
Well, DeNoble in that first half only connected with 5 different players. And 2 of them were the tight end. 3 of them were tight ends or the running back, Curtis. 3rd and 1. DeNoble a snap to give to Curtis up the middle, barreling forward and picks up the first. Ahead to the 41-yard line. A strong burst up the middle. Jamar Curtis, 5'8", 164, but a ton of power. Don't read into his physical attributes at all. That's a strong kid, and you see it there.
Yeah, very tough kid, absolutely. Cannot read into the physicals, especially with some other guys on this Lafayette roster as well. Just dynamic athletes all across the field, and Curtis leading the charge there.
11-10 in the third quarter. Coming across in motion, Carson Persing, play action to Noble. Time in the pocket, now sets up, looks to run. He'll tuck it up the middle. Running right at James Conway, just slides down at his feet after a gain of 6.
It's kind of what you were talking about before, Lou. Not a deep ball threat. DeNoble definitely is not that. But he can complete some big passes, but also use the legs as well. Was trying to find a wide receiver down on the near sideline here. Didn't find him, but still settled for a 6-yard gain with the legs.
2nd and 4, trips left, Curtis offset left. 5 in the box for Fordham. The right side give to Curtis, tripped up from behind by Matt Jaworski. Jaworski getting into the backfield on that pass rush and able to stop and lunge at the legs of Jamar Curtis. And that will go as no gain, 3rd and 4 with 10:15 left in the third quarter. And Matt Jaworski playing some of his best football. 8 sacks on the season, 2 sacks each of the last 3 games. Lafayette will go for a late change here on 3rd down. 3rd and 4. They need the 49 of Fordham. 7 on the line for Fordham right now. DeNoble, empty backfield. Here comes the Fordham blitz, and incomplete. DeNoble throwing left side, but here comes the late flag. Mathani Paul Swinson in coverage on Elijah Stewart, and looked like he might have made contact before that ball got there.
Yeah, Mathani thought that he was going to get away with this one, celebrated a little bit at the end there, but definitely going to be holding. Pass interference here was all over Stewart on that play. Just move those chains forward, and Lafayette, they'll get another first down.
And Alan Gant choosing to be aggressive on that 3rd down and 4. A 7-man blitz, forcing DeNoble to throw the ball early, and looking for his receiver, Elijah Stewart. Good coverage by Mathani Paul Swinson, but just initiated contact too early. 1st and 10 on the Fordham 47. Snap, give up the middle to Curtis. Once again met by this defensive line and driven backward. Mark Preto at the forefront. It's called a gain of 2, but not giving much run lanes right now for Jamar Curtis.
Mark Preto, excellent season so far. 61 total tackles. That's 11th in the Patriot League tallies. 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. An immediate impact during his freshman year, playing in all 12 games and piggybacking off of that success in year number 2.
2nd and 8 from the 45. 9:09 left in the 3rd quarter. Again, they give to Curtis. This time some space. Shakes 2 tackles up to the 38-yard line. And they'll say enough for the first down. Move the chains. Jamar Curtis, even after being bottled up for a couple of plays, still explosive, and there burst forward for 9.
James Conway went in with the right shoulder to put down Curtis, and Curtis kind of just took it, man. Conway, much physically bigger than Curtis is, but Curtis, like we were saying before, Lou, dives forward, gets those extra yards, and that was a gutsy first down by the sophomore running back.
And not easy to break a tackle from James Conway, one of the best in the FCS. Curtis motions right side, empty backfield, throwing off the back foot is DeNoble to Elijah Stewart. Shakes 1 tackle, can't shake another. James Conway flying in there for the tackle, alongside Sam Burkle. And they'll mark that down as a loss of 1, and that time DeNoble facing pressure just had to dump it off, and that play broke down.
That was a great read by the Fordham defense there, Lou. They had Jamar Curtis wide open on the right side flats, but DeNoble chooses to go left. The Fordham defense was clogging it up over there on the left side, and a big stop pushes Lafayette back just a few.
7:50 in the 3rd quarter. 2nd and 11 from the Fordham 38. 6 in the box for Fordham. A tight end on the line. Play action. DeNoble hopping forward, now steps up, throws on the run, incomplete. That pass affected by some pressure from Fordham, and DeNoble eyeing Mason Gilbert, a member of the preseason All-Patriot League team, as a tight end.
Back-to-back Patriot League first team honors as well. When you get down the field a little bit here, though, Lou, we'll start to see Mason Gilbert get targeted a little more. He was getting targeted a lot in the red zone in that first half, so.
3rd and 11, trips wide bunch on the left side. Lafayette needs the 27 of Fordham. It's 4 on the line for Fordham. Preto creeping off the edge, as well as the 2 linebackers. Fordham sends 6 from off the edge. DeNoble steps up, dodges both attempts, throws on the run, completes to Chris Caracia at the 25-yard line. A 13-yard connection, and an impressive play by DeNoble, escaping the blitz from the edge and picking up the first down.
It was a great route run by Caracia as well there, Lou. Hadn't Hill Perkins follow him in all sorts of directions. Quick little misdirection, a little misstep allowed Caracia to get open there. Just enough separation to haul in that pass, and a big first down as Lafayette looms around the red zone once again.
Lafayette leads 7-3. They're on the 25 right now. The end around to Elijah Stewart, reverses back, flea flicker, back into the hands of DeNoble, finds Stewart right side, working up the sideline, and tackled near the end zone. Is he in? He lunged for the end zone. They'll say just short. A touchdown-saving tackle by James Conway, but some trickery there by these Lafayette Leopards. A jet sweep to Elijah Stewart, reverse to Griffin Rooney, who flicked it back to DeNoble. As we've got a stoppage now. And they'll review this play. Elijah Stewart lunging for the end zone. They'll see whether or not he got in.
I know we're a little far away from where the play happened, Lou, but we'll take a look at the replay.
Got a monitor up here.
Stewart, good play. I think they're going to call him down. I think they're going to call his knee down at the 1 yard line. The ball looked like it did cross the line, broke the plane, but Stewart's both knees did look like they were down around the 1 or the 2 yard line. But we'll see.
An impressive play design by Lafayette, right? You have, again, the jet sweep to Elijah Stewart, reverses for Griffin Rooney, the senior wide receiver, who flicks it back to DeNoble, and then you have Elijah Stewart with blockers ahead on that far side, heads up the sideline. It takes a while for any defender to come out and meet him, sifts through the bunch a little bit, and then it's James Conway flying in to stop him from getting into the end zone. And now the question is, clearly Conway made contact with Stewart before the end zone, and Stewart doing his best to just spin around and reach for the end zone. As we said, by just looking at that monitor, it looks like his knee is down, and that's also the call on the field.
And it was a little improv there from DeNoble. Don't know if you saw this, though, Lou. He was eyeing Caracia deep into the end zone. He was covered completely, was not open at all. Had to reroute and go to his number one option in Stewart, and there were just enough blockers over there to get it done.
And usually that's, the flea flicker, that's the point, is you want to draw the defense into the backfield with this reverse, all that stuff, and then you're trying to send someone deep and catch the defense sleeping. Nahil Perkins was not caught sleeping, but you have Stewart wide open in the wide flat, and obviously you can't cover everywhere, especially on a play that's tricky like that. I like the play design that you have a couple options. You got the deep route, and then you got the flat for Stewart.
Yeah, it's like a little combination of a deep ball and a screen play, and got all of your blockers up front there. And Stewart picking each hole very, very selectively. Shorter guy can move. Another nice slot option that this Lafayette receiving corps has. One of the leading receivers, if not the leading receiver, already has a touchdown today. Could get up to 5 on the season, pending this review.
And even if this call does stand, hey, Lafayette's got the ball at the 1, fresh set of downs, a yard away from the end zone.
Can do a whole lot with that.
The ruling on the field does stand. We just heard from our referees on the field, so Lafayette will line up from the 1. And a chance here to make this a 2-score lead, and especially after the Fordham offense just stalled out. They've taken a lot of time off the clock right now. It's been a low-scoring game. To take a 2-score lead at this point in the game could be a big statement.
Yeah, I didn't want to jinx anything here, Lou, but a touchdown here could be very, very deflating for the Fordham Rams. They're going to need to come back and punch them in the mouth on this next drive whenever that does come about.
DeNoble in the gun, 2 tight ends in the line, 2 receivers out left. Curtis in the backfield. They give to Curtis up the middle, lunging for the end zone, and they'll say short. The stand from this defense, like Cloudy Robinson and Sam Burkle in the mix. Lafayette will no-huddle back for 2nd and goal from the 1. Once again, the give to Curtis, flying in. Conway in for the tackle, and short once again. 2 runs up the middle for Jamar Curtis, and both times this Fordham defensive line holds strong. Under center for DeNoble. QB sneak. And waiting for the signal. DeNoble on a tush-push play. DeNoble signaling touchdown. We're waiting for the referee's signal. No sign yet. To our naked eye, looked like he broke the plane. The referees still have not made a call. Lafayette ran 3 quick plays in succession here from the 1. And again, still no touchdown signal. They're going to say that he was short. The ruling on the field is that Dean DeNoble was short of the end zone on a QB sneak. This would be 4th and inches. But the referees will head to the sideline to check this one out. An impressive stand defensively. 2 runs by Curtis. You don't let him get into the end zone. And seemingly on this QB sneak, DeNoble not able to get in.
Man, regardless of what the outcome is here, big props to Conway and Robinson. Really doing a great job of clogging up the middle when you need to clog it up, especially at the 1 yard line. It took them 2 tries and still not in just yet. We'll see what the replay says, but I don't know, Lou. I think they give Fordham another stop here.
And especially with the ruling on the field being that DeNoble was short. You think that would rule in Fordham's favor. You need to see concrete evidence that DeNoble crossed the plane with the football. And I love the design by Lafayette of they're not going to give Fordham a chance to breathe at all. 2 runs up the middle from Curtis and then the QB sneak, but all credit goes to that Fordham defensive line and Conway, as you said, that forefront getting in there and not giving anything up the middle.
Just being absolute walls up front right there, protecting this game. Not just the score, but the game in general. I know this game doesn't matter as much for Fordham as it does for Lafayette, but if you're Fordham, you want to play spoiler. You want to play spoiler a little bit. You want to go for that overall record as well. If you with a win today, they improved to 7-3. You still have to play for that, even though there may not be a trophy at the end of it or a banner. You still want to play for a good overall season.
Even talked to head coach Joe Conlon last week, and he said no matter what, obviously we're going to play hard. We're taking each game by game, but asking him a little bit about some of the postseason stuff, at-large stuff, and he said, listen, if we went out 8-3 with a win over an FBS opponent, we should be in the mix. And so obviously there's no reason for Fordham to sabotage themselves and not try here. Yes, obviously that loss to Georgetown earlier in the year is going to hurt your at-large bid chances. A loss to Holy Cross by 2 without Sluka probably doesn't help as much as it would have if Sluka was in that game, but you're still in the receiving votes category. If you can upset a Lafayette team ranked number 23 in the FCS right now, you'd still be in that conversation as long as you can win out, so no reason for Fordham not to play hard. And then for nothing else, you have a lot of guys on this team that are coming back next year, namely C.J. Montes, right? C.J. Montes could be the future quarterback for this Fordham Rams team for the next 3-4 years that you want to get the most out of this season. The referees confirm the ruling on the field stands. Boos coming down from Fisher Stadium. The Lafayette offense comes back out. Will, it is literally 4th and inches here.
Don't pass the ball.
Where's Pete Carroll at right now, man? Let's get him on the phone. DeNoble under center. 3 running backs behind him. Charges forward on the QB sneak. Fordham the stand. Did he get in? The referees say yes. Dean DeNoble, the QB rush on 4th and inches. It took 4 tries, but Lafayette crosses the plane. Fordham is emphatic that he didn't cross the plane, and I wonder, Will, if we've got another review on our hands right now.
Well, Lou, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to need another review. I couldn't really see from up here if DeNoble got in or not, but it looked like another tush-push popular play among football, and they're going to call it a touchdown. Referee Antonio Marcella calls it a touchdown. They'll give it to him, so this time DeNoble does cross the line, and that is his 5th rushing touchdown of this season, Lou.
They're going to review this play as all scoring plays are reviewed. Regardless of the outcome, listen, I know we're not in the business of moral victories, and neither is head coach Joe Conlon, but Lafayette, with the ball on the 1-yard line, 1st and goal, to make 3 stands defensively on 3rd down and then make it really close on 4th down again. I want to see a replay here because I really thought to my naked eye that DeNoble didn't get in. So much credit goes to that Fordham defensive unit, backs against the wall, holding strong. As it stands right now, Lafayette is up 13-3. And if this call and that touchdown stands, they get an extra point attempt as well.
I'm curious to see what they're going to see in the replay because up here, that Fordham line looked like they had the advantage. You look at goal line plays and just 1-yard plays in general, whichever side of the field is going in their direction, it's most likely going to be in their favor, but they're going to call it a touchdown here, Lou.
They confirm the touchdown call. Lafayette leads 13-3 with 5:07 left in the 3rd quarter. And now Jack Simonetta, the freshman kicker, on for the extra point. 32 of 33 on extra points this season. And Lafayette already a 2-score lead here in the 3rd quarter. A chance to make it an 11-point lead with the extra point. Snap, the hold, kick is up, And good.
Hey guys, it's Nick Palmer, your New York Islanders beat reporter for the 2023-2024 NHL season. Tune into my Twitter at NickPalmer55 for live game updates in addition to pre- and post-game analysis. To get updates on all things Isles, follow me as the Blue and Orange try to bring another Stanley Cup championship to Long Island.
Well, while we were away, Jack Simonetta converted on the extra point attempt, so it is Lafayette leading 14-3 with 5:07 left in the third quarter. And now Fordham will get the ball back for just the second time in this second half, now trailing by 11, the most they've trailed today. And this Fordham offense, outside of one drive where it looked like they got a Julius Luffridge touchdown that was then called back, they settled for 3. Outside of that, not a ton going on for this Fordham offense.
Mackay Felton pass in the end zone as well, too. That was another play Fordham really could have capitalized on. Obviously, the missed field goal as well. This game could be a lot closer than what it is, but what we were talking about at the beginning of the second half in regards to the end of the first half, Lou, just some unforced errors and dropped passes when open. Some things need to start going right for Fordham.
Fair catch by Mackay Felton. A little bit of tussle here between these special teams units. Looked like Mike Courtney for Fordham and Griffin Rooney for Lafayette, but nothing comes of it. Fordham takes over from their own 25-yard line. Now trying to see if they can't get back into this game. This Lafayette defense forced the 3-and-out in their first drive, and Fordham hasn't seen the ball since. Lafayette orchestrated a very long drive that culminated in a touchdown by Dean DeNoble. Luffridge motions wide left, empty backfield. Montes looks right, throws right, the curl route. MJ Wright at the 30-yard line, up for 5 more. Right at the 35-yard line, they'll say move the chains, a 10-yard completion.
MJ Wright, got to get him going. That's a big pass right there, Lou. It's going to be a gain of 11 for Wright. Get him going in this second half with just 4:30 to play.
Trips left. Montes throws right. It's MJ Wright again at the 38-yard line. A 4-yard connection.
Back-to-back receptions. Got to get him going.
MJ Wright getting targeted early here in this drive. He's been Fordham's top receiver this season. Trips left. Lafayette sends 5. Montes time in the pocket. Throws deep left. Jeff Ciccio gets a hand on it but can't come up with it. That ball looked overthrown a tad, and Ciccio, a good job to get a hand on it because Taylor Smallwood was right there. Probably could have intercepted that one.
Really could have, Lou. He could have stepped up, made a play there. Ciccio, though, almost made a very unbelievable grab from Montes. Montes showing a little bit of overthrows that we saw earlier in the season with him on pass attempts today, but good try there. Big third down here for the Rams. 3rd and 6.
We really haven't seen Fordham try for the deep ball too often. Yeah. 3rd and 6 from the 39. Trips left. 4:19 left in the third quarter. Snap the give to Luffridge. Up the middle. Met at the line. Moves forward for a couple. On 3rd and 6. OC Arta Celta elects to run the ball. Luffridge picks up 2. And right back out there is the punting unit for Fordham. Another empty drive. And not sure you love the play call there, Will.
I really don't, Lou. I'm going to be honest with you. A 2-yard gain there. Needed 6 yards. You got to put all the faith in the world in Julius Luffridge. Definitely a yardage in which he could have gotten, but knowing how good that front four is and how highly touted and much anticipated this game has been for that sector, I don't know. I don't really like the play design.
Haslett punts from his own 30. The fair catch by Dubois at the 23-yard line. And this Lafayette offense right back out there. Fordham won the time possession battle in the first half, but it's Lafayette after a really long drive that's evened it up, and now the chance to get the advantage here. Right now, Fordham 20:06 time of possession, Lafayette 19:47, and they'll get the ball right here following a very gritty touchdown drive, creative offensive play calling. Dean DeNoble and these Lafayette Leopards in the driving seat.
First and 10, Leopards.
DeNoble in the gun, trips right. Curtis offset right. Fordham sends 5. They hand off to Curtis. Curtis is tabletop by Stephen Williams, taking out his legs. It's only a gain of 1, if that. They're going to say actually no gain.
No gain on the play.
And Fordham's done a great job of keeping Curtis contained in this quarter. But with that being said, though, Lou, the flip side of that coin, a lot of open receivers here. A lot more active is Dean DeNoble and this Lafayette offense in the air in this third quarter.
DeNoble in the gun, a tight end left, Curtis left as well. Claps to the snap, play action, DeNoble looking left, throws left, the curl route connection for Elijah Stewart, jukes back along the sideline, giving some trouble to the freshman cornerback Justin Johnson, sent him into the spin cycle a little bit there. A big reception and Stewart up to the 42-yard line.
Yeah, got Justin's head on a swivel. Just a little bit of a swivel for Justin Johnson. Man, Elijah Stewart, great game so far. Nice little play there, gets out of bounds. Does what he does. He's a little maneuver slot receiver. And we're going to have some flags here.
DeNoble frustrated as flags fly. This looks to be against the offense. The referees huddle, and they'll discuss it here. Now Lafayette pointing towards the Fordham defense. After the refs huddle, they're going to say offsides against the defense. So move Lafayette up 5. It's now 1st and 5 with 2:32 left in the third quarter.
You don't really want to see that, Lou. Penalties going against the defense when you really just can't have it happen.
6 penalty today going against Fordham, just 2 against Lafayette for only 10 yards. 39 penalty yards going against Fordham after that offsides. 2 receivers either side. Curtis offset left. Fordham sends 5. DeNoble throws left side, reeled in by Holmes. A minimal gain. Able to get back to the line of scrimmage, but nothing more. It's 2nd and 5.
DeNoble doing a great job of getting both tight ends involved. Kind of seeing, we're seeing Dallas Holmes more involved before the 50-yard line. And then once Lafayette gets around the 25, that's when Mason Gilbert really starts getting going. Good duo tandem for Lafayette in the tight end department.
Straightaway give Curtis, now bounces out left side, has some space, spins past the first down, and finally brought down by Jack Lowe in the second level, but able to get up to the 43-yard line of Fordham, and guess what? Lafayette right back in Fordham territory with 1:28 left in the third. Trips right to DeNoble in the gun. Tried to get the jump from Fordham, but they're not flinching on that clap. Curtis now moves over to the right of DeNoble. A minute 04 left in the third quarter. DeNoble the snap, play action, throws left side once again for Elijah Stewart. Call at the 34-yard line. Tried to work up for a couple more, but they'll say he steps out at the 34. So 2nd down and 2 for this Lafayette offense. 50 seconds and ticking on the third quarter clock.
Elijah Stewart, Lou, really getting some more looks as this game progresses. Really seeing how explosive he is as part of this offense.
A team high 7 receptions now for Stewart. 28 seconds and ticking on the third quarter. Lafayette leads 14-3. 2nd and 2 from the Fordham 34. Fordham sends blitz. They give to Curtis off left edge. Bounces outside past the 30. Speeds ahead to the 26-yard line. They move the chains once more, and now you're seeing Jamar Curtis find some of those lanes on the outside.
And that was a very legitimate bounce from Jamar Curtis. He kind of lined up the initial hole he had going up the middle, shifted to the left, and got an extra 4 or 5 yards on the outside there. Big third quarter for the sophomore running back.
And that run from Curtis will bring an end to our third quarter. It's now a 2-score lead for Lafayette, and they're driving, looking to add to it. 14-3 they lead, just 1 quarter left to play. Let's send it back to the Rose Hill Studios. Owen Kelty has your one-on-one scoreboard update.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
In the Patriot League, Holy Cross is looking to make a late comeback, trailing Army 14-7. Bucknell is getting blown out by Georgetown 23-8, and Lehigh is getting shut out by Colgate 16-0. For top 25 play, Penn State is looking to steal a win versus number 3 Michigan, trailing 17-9. Alabama is making a statement, blowing out Kentucky 35-14, and number 16 Kansas is able to get on the board late in the fourth, trailing Texas Tech 13-7. In the afternoon games, the undefeated number 4 Seminoles look to go 10-0 with a win versus Miami. Number 5 Washington will face off with number 18 Utah, looking to continue a surprising season. And 22 Iowa and unranked Rutgers look to have a slugfest of punts as they play at 3:30. Tonight we have number 2 Georgia Bulldogs hosting number 9 Ole Miss. And to send us off into the night, 2 high-powered offenses in number 8 Oregon and USC will face off at 10:30. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Owen Kelty.
Thank you for staying with us this whole way as we enter our 4th quarter of play. The Fordham Rams taking on the Lafayette Leopards here in Easton, Pennsylvania. And this is Fordham football broadcast on WFUV Sports. Lou Orlando, Will Tallant on behalf of our entire WFUV Sports crew. Fordham trails by 11. Lafayette driving right now up to the 30-yard line in Fordham territory. And it's just been, in this second half, the story has been Fordham hasn't been able to get the stops that we saw them get in the first half. They've been using Jamar Curtis as a workhorse back, and it's been paying off dividends for this Lafayette offense.
Yeah, they really have been using Jamar Curtis a lot more and a lot more effectively. I think he's found his rhythm in this game. As we saw before the clock hit double zeros for the third quarter, Lou. A nice little bounce off to the left for Curtis, and those maneuvers like that he does so well, and he does them so intricately. He gets himself over to the out-of-bounds marker and little gain of 5 or 6 yards. And this third quarter, he really started to look like that running back that we all know him to be.
It's been all Lafayette in this second half. Just 2 punts for the Fordham Rams on both of their possessions. Lafayette drove down the field their last drive, capped it off with a QB sneak by Dean DeNoble on 4th and inches. Now this Lafayette offense driving once again, and hey, you look up for Fordham offensively, you look up just 3 points on the scoreboard, and this Lafayette defense, again, it wasn't, what it was advertised as, this, high-powered pass rush. They've only gotten to Montes 1 time, but they've completely neutralized the Fordham offensive attack, and I think you look at where they are right now, even if Lafayette's not able to score right here, you feel like they're in a good spot with where they have Fordham offensively.
And one thing to note here, too, Lou, the Lafayette defense, all the rave about the pass rush, they have held Garrett Cody and MJ Wright, 2 receivers who consistently put up 100 yards each, to 60 and 37 yards respectively. So, this big-time pass rush defense it's there, but the secondary has definitely stepped up in many ways that head coach John Troxell needed them to do.
1st and 10 from the 26. The give to Jamar Curtis up the B-gap left side. Burst forward for a few. Up to the 22-yard line. Call a gain of 4 yards. And especially here in this 4th quarter with the lead, don't be surprised. They already used Jamar Curtis as their feature back to begin with. Don't be surprised if Lafayette leans heavily on him.
Yeah, he had 30 yards in that third quarter there, Lou. So he really started getting going at a net of 94 yards so far today. He should cross that 100-yard threshold once again this season. Big game against a big opponent.
2 receiver, 2 tight end set. Play action to Noble directing Stewart down the field. The head-high catch. Now the ball comes out on the hit from Stephen Williams, but a flag on the hit. And now I think you have to wonder about targeting. Elijah Stewart in the air, gets laid out by Stephen Williams. And we'll see what the call is. That was almost a fantastic grab by Elijah Stewart.
Went up and tried to get it, but there was Stephen Williams. We'll see what the call is, Lou, but targeting, you may be onto something there.
Go personal foul targeting against Stephen Williams, but they're going to review this one, and they've got it up on the scoreboard right now, and definitely looks like Williams got the helmet of Elijah Stewart. Looked like helmet to helmet, and you just can't do that. I know it's tough, right? Elijah Stewart's in the air. I don't think Williams is trying to hit his helmet, but that is what happened.
No, it definitely didn't seem that was the intent. Williams just trying to make a play, and he did. The ball came out, but you just can't do that. Can't go helmet to helmet. And Stewart going to get some more yards for himself on the day.
It's so tough, right? Because you got Elijah Stewart high-pointing that football, and the only thing you can do is hit him on the way down, but you want to make sure you hit him square, and it just ends up being unfortunate where Stephen Williams, I think, is trying to lead with the pad there, but his helmet's right there, right? You can't make a tackle without your helmet being in the area, and as Stewart's helmet is coming down, I think just a product of poor timing. Either way, right now, you're worried about, first and foremost, player health and safety for Elijah Stewart. Takes a hit to the head. For Fordham, you might lose Stephen Williams for the remainder of this game with a targeting penalty, and it would give Lafayette a fresh set of downs and the ball deep inside the red zone.
Now, Williams, only one tackle today, but a great season for the grad student out of Jacksonville, Florida. 43 total tackles with a 51-yard interception and 6 pass deflections. He had a high of 10 tackles against Georgetown, so definitely a difference maker on this defense for sure. Not so much today, but overall this season putting together a very good campaign. They're going to miss him if this call does in fact stand.
And the referee's almost out to make the decision. Stephen Williams, the graduate student defensive back, a captain of this team, a guy that Brian and I talked to at the beginning of the season. We talked to him and MJ prior to this season's start, and certainly one of the leaders of this team, is certainly a leader on this defense and someone that is very crucial to what Fordham does. Still awaiting the official ruling here. They're taking their time.
Williams also very consistent in his play at Fordham. With him playing next week, that will be the 3rd straight season that Williams plays 11 or more games. So definitely nothing to sneeze at. Obviously a pivotal part of this defense.
Second team All-Patriot League last year. A crucial peg in this team, named to the preseason All-Patriot League team, a 3-year starter. One of the most reliable guys in a Fordham secondary that has seen vast improvements. Again, you think back to last year and all the passing yards that they allowed each and every game. Obviously some tough games throughout this season, namely the Holy Cross game, 49 points, and Joe Pazanski having a heck of a day. The ruling on the field confirmed. Stephen Williams will be disqualified for the remainder of this game. It's half the distance to the goal. Fresh set of downs for the Lafayette offense.
Just a hard break if you're Fordham, Lou. That's a very, very tough play. It was very, up in the air because Stewart was coming down and Williams trying to make a tackle. Definitely did not intend to take or target his head, but it was just a very awkward positioning for both players, and Williams gets the short end of that stick. A big opportunity here for Lafayette, Lou. This could potentially close out this ballgame.
Damaris Rice-Williams enters that secondary in replacement of Stephen Williams. 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. They give to Curtis up the middle. Not a ton of space, getting driven back by that defensive secondary. Cloudy Robinson and Alfonso Dixon throwing him back.
Robinson having a really, really solid game. Few tackles for a loss, one right there. With the help of Alfonso Dixon. He had a great game last week. 7 tackles during the senior day. How about Dixon?
Alfonso Dixon, a guy that suffered what was potentially a season-ending injury in the last team scrimmage prior to the start of the season, but was able to work back, has been rehabbing, and has been in full effect the last 2 weeks coming off a big game. DeNoble throws back shoulder, far side, incomplete. Eyeing that back pylon, Carl Smith on the fade. Threw his hands and just out of reach.
It was great coverage there by the Fordham secondary. DeNoble just kind of taking a shot, and great defense all around. Nail Perkins covering Smith there. Not a chance. Just out of the reach of Smith's hands. But Perkins doing a great job on red zone defense today.
Lafayette leads 14-3, 3rd and 9, an early jump from Alfonso Dixon trying to jump the snap count. So from 3rd and 9, you go to 3rd and 4, and that's a tough blow for this defense, talking about self-inflicted penalties.
And that is something that Coach Joe Conlon was telling us over the course of the week. Alfonso Dixon, he moves really fast, but sometimes he doesn't do everything right. That was one of those examples. He was coming fast on that right edge there, but snap didn't happen yet.
3rd and 4. They need the 1-yard line. They're at the 5. 13:25 left in our final quarter. 2 receivers either side. Curtis sidecar right. Fordham looking for a stop. Fordham sends blitz to Noble in the gun, facing pressure, runs right into the teeth of that defense and going nowhere. James Conway at the forefront of that rush, implanting DeNoble in the ground. And for the moment, Fordham can stay in striking distance of this game. We'll see what Lafayette elects to do. They'll send out the kicking unit to make this a 17-3 lead, but that would keep it at a 2-score game for Fordham, and that's a big number, especially late in this game.
Definitely keeps them in the game, but with how this game has been going for Fordham's offense, Lou, it definitely makes it look a lot more drastic than keeping them in the game.
Simonetta, the 29-yarder, snap the hold. Kicks up and good. Lafayette ahead, 17-3. 10 second-half points for these Lafayette Leopards. They lead by 14 with 12:32 left in our final quarter. And with that, let's take a break. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
Hey everyone, I'm Chris Persianen.
And I'm Will Grant.
And we're 2 of the hosts for WFUV's very own basketball podcast, Pick and Pod.
Tune in weekly for updates on our takes of the latest around the NBA and exclusive insight from our very own Knicks and Nets beat reporters.
We'll have you covered on everything from all of the NBA's latest drama we know and love,
to debating all year long which team will get to lift that golden Larry O'Brien in June.
Don't miss a beat from the hardwood on WFUV's Pick and Pod.
Back with you, 12:32 left in the fourth quarter here from Fisher Stadium in Easton, Pennsylvania. The Lafayette Leopards lead by 14, looking to stay in striking distance of the Patriot League title. Again, the mission statement for Lafayette right now: win out, and the Patriot League title is yours. Fordham not just trying to spoil that, trying to keep their at-large bid hopes alive. Any chance of an at-large bid would certainly be crushed with another loss, especially a third loss in conference. And Fordham trailing by 14. It's put up or shut up time for the offense. Offense has only put up 3 points. A couple solid drives into Lafayette territory, but neither of those came in this half, and it's been really tough sledding in the second half of this Fordham offense.
Yeah, and I think, Lou, what the difference has been with the Lafayette defense is that they've actually backed off of that pass rush as much as they were doing it in the first half. They've played a little bit more zone defense, still applying a lot of pressure with the linebackers. However, it's not a full 5-6 guy send. It's usually just 3 or 4 that we've seen so far in this second half. So definitely a factor. Montes not really throwing the ball a total lot in this second half, and that little differentiation between zone defense and the blitz defense could be the deciding factor today.
1 sack for a Lafayette defense that leads the FCS in sacks, just 3 tackles for a loss for a team that's 3rd in the FCS in tackles for loss. But despite all that, it's been their secondary and their coverage and their defensive front play against the run that's held this Fordham offense to just 3 points. The line drive kick from Wu. KJ Reed, sporting number 9, works down the far sideline, hurdles the defender, and up to the 23-yard line. They'll give him the 24. This Fordham offense, pretty average starting position. Nothing you can complain about. And the onus now falls on CJ Montes and this offensive unit. Can they move the ball down the field? They haven't gotten into Lafayette territory yet in this half.
Yeah, have to find a way to get going now, Lou. Just 12 and a half minutes left in this game. It's over a 2-score game as well, so got to get these reps in. Got to find a way to slice up this defense.
Montes in the gun, trips left. Delay give to Julius Luffridge, bounces it outside, works past the 25, stood up at the 27-yard line, whistles blow. Forward progress down at the 27.
Luffridge just so strong. Took a couple tries to get him down there once again. But that's what he is. He's a tough, sturdy back. But Lafayette doing a great job of containing Fordham's tough and sturdy back this afternoon.
After that play, still just 29 second-half yards for this Fordham offense. 2nd and 6. Montes looking right, throws right. MJ Wright, the catch of the 40, speeding towards the middle. Crosses midfield. He's tripped up. But a big reception by MJ Wright. His biggest of the game so far.
Great job by CJ Montes there, Lou. Another really tight window and a slant route going towards the middle of the field. A route that MJ Wright has perfected.
11:30 left in the fourth quarter. Fordham trails by 2 scores. Montes facing a 4-man rush. Throws left side. Mekhi Felton the basket catch at the 30-yard line. Montes drops it into the breadbasket. And blink and you'll miss it. This Fordham offense has flipped the field position, waking up in the fourth quarter.
And that was just a dot to Mekhi Felton there, Lou. CJ Montes just floated it over the head of Taylor Smallwood, and now on the 30-yard line, Fordham in striking distance.
Montes the snap. They give to Luffridge up the middle. Bounces off right guard. Not a ton of space, but able to work up for 3. And up to the 29-yard line, a gain of 2. 10:45 left in this fourth quarter. Seeing some urgency right now from the Fordham offense. 2 receivers up top, 1 down low. Luffridge offset right. O-line shows strong left. Montes claps to the snap, has some trouble with it, but regains. Throws far side, incomplete. MJ Wright smothered there by Dubois. A late flag from the back judge. Looked like Montes was trying to throw a sideline route there. Wright never moved from the numbers. You wonder if his progress was impeded. And especially, you see a late flag in the secondary. Those usually go against the defense.
I think we might. Yep, there it is. I was just going to say, Lou, I thought it was going to be pass interference on 25 down there. And that is exactly what it was. That's Gabe Dubois. Triple covered almost was MJ Wright. And Dubois just had a little too much coverage there.
Dubois, the junior from Cincinnati, has put up a good season as one of the 2 main starting cornerbacks for this Lafayette defense, usually playing across from AT and Tang Tang. It's in Tang Tang out today. Dubois had a very good day today, but penalized there. And the penalty moves Fordham into the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 15. 2 receivers down low, 1 up top. Mekhi Felton in the near slot. Luffridge offset right. Low snap. Montes picks it up off the ground. Gives it to Luffridge. This play's blown up. Lafayette reads the read option perfectly. And leading the way on that surge, guess who? Billy Schaefer. Haven't said his name a ton, but he makes his first impact play of the game.
Hey, it took until the fourth quarter to really get him going, but there's Billy Schaefer on the right side where he's been all day long. Not a lot of action, but Julius Luffridge, he went right at him, and Schaefer, one-on-one, he got the job done in that battle.
A loss of 3, 2nd and 13 from the 18. Clock ticks under 10 minutes on our final quarter. Montes the snap, hops in the pocket, throws over the middle, reeled in by Garrett Cody, takes a huge hit, but able to hang on. Man, that was a big hit.
It's a big football play right there. That is a big football play right there. Garrett Cody
Brown
gets popped. He got popped at the goal line.
Snap, Montes, read option keeper, near side, into the end zone, touchdown Fordham. Fordham gets their first touchdown of the game. And right back in it, trailing 17-9. That play set up, as we were just talking about, a big reception by Garrett Cody. takes the pop from Ryan Brown, but hangs on and gets them the ball at the 1. And then the perfect read by Montes there keeps it himself and no one near him.
Yeah, like I was saying, Lou, it was a big football play. Garrett Cody got right back up after getting smoked at the goal line, and it leads to a big touchdown. Montes, once again, using the legs really well today. He's in for a rushing score.
Peskin missed a field goal earlier today. This time, he nails the extra point. Fordham trails by 7. 9:28 left in the fourth quarter, and I've been talking all this second half about, Fordham can't move the ball. Fordham can't move the ball offensively. Well, right there, they go right down the field in 3 minutes, and they punch it in. You finally see the offensive attack shape into form. Big reception from MJ Wright. Big reception from Mekhi Felton. A huge reception from Garrett Cody.
Well, I mean, on that drive, that Fordham offense looked like the Fordham offense we're accustomed to. Haven't seen that brand of ball all day long. And it took just a few plays to get down the field and then just a couple more to get in the end zone. Hadn't seen it for the entirety of the first 3 quarters. With 9.5 minutes left, it's only a 1-score game. So Fordham needing that defense to stay strong and stay consistent, get the ball back in the offense's hands, and let C.J. Montes and company go back to work.
C.J. Montes, his second rushing touchdown of the season. And that's brought Fordham right back to this game. And now I think the focus naturally shifts to the defensive side. You held Lafayette to a field goal with a nice stand after they drove down the field. But I think the goal here is, hey, let's keep Lafayette out of our opposing territory. They've been driving down the field. They've been getting good runs from Jamar Curtis. But this is still a Lafayette offense that Fordham can stop when they play their brand of football.
Yeah, they've had a couple 3-and-outs so far today. Haven't seen it so much in the second half. But, yeah, this time, a win in a defensive possession would not be to stop them from scoring a touchdown and settling for a field goal. It would be converting on downs and trying to get the offense back on the field with a 1-score game as the only deficit they're looking at.
Now for Jack Seminetta, the freshman kicker of Lafayette, his career long is 40. He's 1 for 3 on kicks from 40 plus. So if you're Lafayette, you're looking to get into that 23-yard range to even really think about kicking a field goal here. And so the mission statement for Fordham again is, hey, let's keep Lafayette away from that 25-yard and in range. Let's force this Lafayette offense out again. We know what they've done in the second half. They've used Curtis as their workhorse, and I don't know if we've said enough about how impressive it is that Jamar Curtis has taken a complete workload today. When you look at his status going into this game, being uncertain, was practicing in limited capacity all throughout this week, missed last week. Head coach John Troxel said, I'm not sure how much we're going to get out of him, but I think he's going to tough it out, and boy, has he toughed it out.
Yeah, that was the verbatim quote. Try to tough it out, and he is more than toughing it out here, Lou. Great game for the sophomore running back, definitely a major factor as to why Lafayette has been able to kind of click on all cylinders here in this second half.
Curtis, 21 carries, 98 yards. Kicks away from Peskin, bounces at the 16. Troy Bruce has some trouble with it, able to pick it up, but not able to advance it at all. He's stopped the 16-yard line, and Peskin spotted that ball perfectly. Bruce wasn't able to get up to it. He tried to let it bounce. I think wanted to see if it would bounce out of bounds, and then had trouble, felt the pressure of the incoming special teams unit, and fumbled with the ball a little bit, was able to secure it, but doesn't advance it at all.
Yeah, the initial drop was fine from Bruce there, but then he kind of walked into the bounce. I'm fine with him seeing where that ball ends up, but he walked right into the path of that bounce, made that kickoff a lot dicier for Lafayette than they probably anticipated. They're going to start on their own 15 now.
Lafayette, 9:26 left in this fourth quarter. Noble in the gun, trips left. Lafayette moving right to left. The give to Curtis, up the B-gap, plenty of space, speeding ahead past the 40-yard line. Is anyone going to catch him? 30, the 20. The fumble, ball comes out, but out of bounds. The heel Perkins, the chase down tackle at the 10-yard line of Fordham. The ball came out and goes out of bounds, so it stays with Lafayette. And Will, we said, you know what they want to do. They want to run it with Curtis. Well, one carry, speeds ahead, completely flips the field and gets Lafayette inside the red zone.
Yeah, there's just a wide open hole right in the middle of that offensive line. Curtis found it. He squeezed right through it, and there's just nobody on the left side for the Fordham linebackers or the Fordham secondary. A huge, monstrous run from Curtis. Nice job from Nahil Perkins, though, to punch that ball out. A lot going on in that play there, Lou.
Curtis is a fast guy, and Nahil Perkins made up ground and was able to chase him down and knock the ball out. It's Lafayette on the 12 of Fordham, 2 receivers on the right side. The give to Curtis up through the middle, this time met by the defensive line. After a gain of 4, though, takes them inside the 10. 8:25 left on the fourth quarter. Fordham only trails by 7, but Lafayette in a prime position to at least make this once again a 2-score game.
I feel like it just keeps shifting here, Lou, because just before we were like, all right, it's a 1-score game, and then that monster run from Curtis, and now it's like, oh boy, well, if Lafayette finds the end zone here, what is that going to tell for Fordham?
2 tight ends out left, Curtis sidecar left, 2 receivers out right. Fordham loads the box on 2nd, and 7 from the 9 to Curtis on the near side flat. Completes the pass at the 8-yard line, goes out of bounds right there as Conway forces him out.
Well, the Fordham red zone defense has been pretty strong. That's where they've excelled on defense today. And now doing the same, but the whole objective is for them to not get there. And it took one play for Lafayette to run it all the way down to Fordham territory.
Lafayette has the ball on the 7, 3rd and 5, trips right, a flinch from the left side of the line, Matt Jaworski. And it's going to be offsides going against the defense. And on 3rd and 5, that could gift Lafayette a fresh first down. The referees check with it, and yes, it will be first down. So instead of 3rd and 5, first down from the 2.
Matt Jaworski, Lou.
They're actually going to say, I thought the referees on the field said it was a first down, but so far we're not seeing them move the chains. So now they're saying 3rd and 1 from the 3. Clock is ticking, 7:05 left in our fourth quarter. Just 2 receivers in the formation, heavy set to Noble in the gun, Curtis offset left, and now referees whistle it dead. Lafayette will use their first time out of the game. Stops the clock at 6:59. So it's Lafayette leading by 7, looking to add to it late in the fourth quarter. We'll take a break. You're listening to Fordham Football on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Back with you, Lou Orlando, Will Tallant, bringing you Fordham football on WFUV Sports. And Lafayette in a pretty good position here. 6:59 left in the fourth quarter. They lead by 7, and they've got the ball on the 3 of Fordham. This all set up by a 72-yard run by Jamar Curtis. And then to make things a bit worse for Fordham, on 3rd down and 5, you get a jump from Matt Jaworski offside. It's been a tough day for Matt Jaworski. Pretty ineffective in the pass rush game, just 1 tackle today, and gets called for that penalty and sets up a pretty manageable 3rd and short.
And pretty surprising too, Lou. We were talking all about Billy Schaefer and Lafayette's pass rush defense here, but Matt Jaworski, he's number 2 behind Schaefer in that sack department. 8 sacks for the junior out of Buffalo, New York this season. He's recorded 100 tackles in all 3 seasons as a Ram as well, and 6 sacks in his last 3 games, 2 sacks in each of those games. So not just quiet, but also ice cold.
Credit to this Lafayette offense. Had run into turnover problems the last couple games. 5 turnovers their last 2 games. 2 against Georgetown, 3 last week against Colgate. No turnovers today for this Lafayette offense, as they're looking to seal a Week 11 victory over the Fordham Rams. 3rd and 1 from the 3. DeNoble in the gun, Curtis to his left. Both tight ends motion to the left side of the line. A receiver on either side. The snap, give to Curtis, off left tackle, into the end zone, untouched. Lafayette back up by 2 scores. Jamar Curtis, the first touchdown of this game, as he returns from injury with an emphatic stat line, 176 yards and a touchdown, and Lafayette leads 23-10.
Yeah, on 23 attempts, Lou, as you said, 176 yards. His 9th touchdown of the season, and his awesome sophomore campaign just continues to get better and better, not as the season goes along, but as this game goes along.
That 72-yard run certainly helps the stats a lot, and then he gets the 3-yard touchdown on top of it. Simonetta on for the extra point. It's up and good. The Lafayette lead back up to 14 with 6:55 left in the 4th quarter, and we've seen this Fordham offense have quick strike ability, but less than 7 minutes left against this defense. I don't like those odds, Will.
They're kind of playing opposite ball here. They struck really early in that last drive, but they hadn't done that all game long. And now with the defense, they're holding steady, and then in that last drive, they kind of just fall apart. So it's kind of been back and forth for which side of the ball is going to be that side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? For Fordham today.
This Fordham offense, if they are going to make anything interesting here in this game, because it's certainly not over just yet, you're going to need to see some quick strikes. You're going to need a continuation of what you saw that receiver room do in that last drive, where you had big receptions from MJ Wright, Mekhi Felton, and Garrett Cody. You're going to need more of that. And at the forefront of your checklist for what are the things you need to see, you need to see CJ Montes continue to deliver the ball accurately like he did in that last drive.
And it's going to have to be quick and rapid, Lou, because there's not a whole lot of time left, down 2 scores. You're going to have to find the end zone just as fast as you found it in your last offensive drive.
Wu's kick reaches the near side 10. KJ Reed out to return with speed, stumbling past the 25. Ball comes out, and waiting to see who's recovered this one. Lafayette says that they have it. KJ Reed took a big hit on that return. Lafayette still pointing in their direction. Referees have not made a signal. I thought that KJ Reed might have been able to recover it right away.
I thought he did.
But then I think he lost it again.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I didn't see the second loss.
Trying to figure out what's happening under this scrum. Looks like Fordham came away with it. And so they'll save Fordham ball. So a little bit of a scare there on the return from the freshman KJ Reed. He's been pretty sure-handed this season. A reliable returner. And they're already trailing by 14, almost a game-sealing error. Fordham lucky to come away with it.
KJ Reed, freshman wide receiver, has gotten a lot of time on special teams. Would have been a big blow there, but Montes and company needing to work quickly.
Montes, play action, looking left, throws left for Garrett Cody, the head-high catch at the 35. Stood up and driven back. With forward progress, they'll give Cody the first down at the 37. So Fordham moves the chains. We're not at the part of the game yet where the clock stops for moving the first down markers. So 6:25 and ticking. 2 receivers down low, 1 up top, a tight end left. Luffridge offset left, snap. Montes drops back, looking left, throws middle, through the hands of Jeff Ciccio. And that one was right there on a silver platter for the senior tight end. Couldn't reel it in.
Jeff Ciccio, yeah, as you said, Lou, right there for the senior tight end, but also a few guys open on the right side of the field. Big pass rush there from Lafayette. That's exactly the kind of model we've been alluding to this entire game, and really worked out in that play.
Montes in the gun. Ciccio goes wide left. Montes facing pressure, evades the sack, now rolling right. He'll tuck it and run past the 40 to the 45. Chased down by Jalen Joseph after a gain of 8. Credit to CJ Montes just to be able to avoid that sack.
Brought down by Lafayette's number 93, Peter. Number 93.
3rd and 2. From the 45, 5:50 and ticking in this game. 2 up top, 1 down low. The receivers for Fordham. Snap, play action. Montes throws middle. MJ Wright the sliding grab at the 42-yard line into Lafayette territory.
Yeah, that slant route across the middle, that's MJ Wright's specialty. Didn't see it a lot in the first half. We're starting to see it more in the second half. And now in desperate need to get it going once again.
1st and 10, 5:20 in the 4th quarter. Now whistles. The referees are going to call an official timeout and review this one, trying to see whether or not MJ Wright was able to maintain possession through the ground. And so they'll check this out on the sideline. As you said, Will, one of those quick slants, MJ Wright flips the hands under and is able to make a sliding grab, but now we'll see whether or not we can get an angle up here in the booth about whether or not MJ Wright was able to secure this catch. I think while they check it out, let's take a little break. Lafayette 24, Fordham 10. Fordham trying to drive down the field. You're listening to Fordham football on WFUV Sports.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Lou Orlando.
And I'm Colin Lochran.
And we're 2 of your main hosts for WFUV Sports' NHL podcast, 5 on 3.
We'll keep you updated on the Rangers, Islanders, Devils, and of course, the Stanley Cup Final.
Home ice for all things NHL, 5 on 3.
Back with you from Fisher Stadium. If you're just joining us, Lou Orlando, Will Tallant. The score after 1 half of play was Lafayette 7, Fordham 3. Since then, it's been 17 points for Lafayette. Fordham has responded with a touchdown, but it's 24-10, Lafayette leads. After a review, they would say that MJ Wright did maintain possession through the ground, so the reception stands. Fordham is in Lafayette territory. 1st and 10 at the opposing 42. 2 receivers up top, 1 down low. CCO motions to the left side of the line. High snap, Montes facing a 5-man blitz, steps up. Montes will run up the middle, now angling left. Getting dragged down by Schaefer. Schaefer unable to bring him to the ground, but able to drag him out of bounds. And CJ Montes, 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, was trying to deke as if he was going to throw the ball.
He did a good job of holding on to the ball, though, especially against a defender like Schaefer. Very susceptible to just letting that ball go. Montes, great job of holding on to it.
4:43 left in the final quarter. Montes throws middle. Garrett Cody, did he bring that in? He did at the 27-yard line. Great hands by Garrett Cody on the far side curl route. Met immediately after that catch and dragged down.
That's Cody's 8th reception of the game. It's going to tie a season high for the grad student wide receiver. Great game for him.
Montes in the gun. 1st and 10 from the 27. High snap. Lafayette sends blitz. Montes stands in the pocket. Throws right side. Incomplete. Looking for MJ Wright. That throw well short as Narayan Brown in coverage. It's up 2nd and 10. Fordham has tried to move quickly, but even still, there's just 4:10 left in this one. Fordham has all 3 timeouts, but trailing by 14, you need to score sooner rather than later. 2 receivers either side. It's Wright and Cody as wideouts. Felton and CCO in the slots. Snap, Lafayette blitzes once again. Montes rolling right, dumps off for MJ Wright at the 20-yard line, moves up for 5 more, picks up the 1st down. The clock does not stop yet as they move the chains.
1st down, Fordham.
That will be within 2 minutes. So clock ticking 3:50 as Fordham inside the red zone at the 15. MJ Wright another reception.
Preferably want to find the end zone sooner rather than later if you're Fordham.
Montes snap, play action, looking left, throws left, tipped, and hits the ground incomplete, eyeing Garrett Cody on that far side. But a nice read in that secondary by Billy Schaefer, dropping back in coverage. Made a lunge with that ball and almost came up with it.
Yeah, good pass deflection there by Schaefer. Really starting to get more and more active. Kind of a surprising statement.
Coach said Schaefer, he makes plays, and he's doing that in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 10, 3:34 left. Trips left for Fordham. Snap. Montes looks right now, scrambles right, getting pressure. Now throws back to the middle. Julius Luffridge, the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Fordham. Julius Luffridge, just a check down option there, but able to take it into the end zone. A 15-yard touchdown reception. And Fordham once again back within one score with 3:25 to play.
Julius Luffridge in the end zone for his 11th touchdown of the season. Nice little screen route right there. It's what we had been anticipating all game long, Blue. And just now in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter as well, Luffridge has really seen a lot more opportunities in the flat. Dropped a couple of those passes in the first half, but really making the most out of his opportunities here in the second.
Peskin's extra point misses wide left. It's been a tough day for the senior kicker, Brandon Peskin. He's been so good this season, one of the nation's best, but missed a 27-yard field goal earlier today, and now unable to convert on the extra point. Fordham trails by 8. So now they'll need a defensive stand. They need to get the ball back. They need to score a touchdown, and they need the 2-point conversion. Think back to the Holy Cross game. Missed extra point from Peskin. Fordham gets the touchdown. They can't get the 2-point conversion, and that's how that game came to an end, and ultimately how their Patriot League title chances came to an end.
And this game, too, 4 points left on the table. The missed field goal and now the missed extra point could have been a lot closer of a game. Still would have been a score, but still very, very hard to see for the senior, Brandon Peskin.
Even with the miss, still a one-score game right now. And the pressure immediately turns to the Fordham defense. They need a stand. And, coming off a drive where Jamar Curtis took a run 72 yards and then capped off that drive with a 3-yard touchdown. They'll have to flip the script here, Fordham does, if they want to have any chance at tying this ball game. Peskin kicks away. Far side. Fair catch by Troy Bruce, the freshman. And Lafayette takes over at their own 25-yard line. 3:25 left in this fourth quarter. And they've done this lead on the back of Jamar Curtis, coming back from injury after missing last week against Colgate, a game that they lost 37-34 in overtime. Jamar Curtis has returned in emphatic fashion as he's looking to lead Lafayette to a win and another step closer to a potential Patriot League title.
First time since 2013, we keep saying it, Lou, but it's a long time. It's about 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago. Well, it wasn't about. 7 titles in the Patriot League, 3 straight co-championships between 2004 and 2006, and once again looking for their first 8-win season since 2009, and Lafayette putting together a strong bid for that today.
DeNoble gives to Jamar Curtis up the middle, up for 5 to the 30-yard line. And with that, Fordham will use their first timeout. They want to try and get the ball right back. A solid first gain on first down for Jamar Curtis. They now just need 5 yards. If they pick up the first down, they can basically ice this one away. Remember, no 2-minute warning at the collegiate level. Lafayette leading by 8. You were talking about their Patriot League titles. Troxel was part of the staff for that three-peat from 2004 to 2006. Left to go to F&M. He took an F&M team that had struggled before he got there. Just one winning season in 13 seasons prior to his arrival there, made them a winning program, and now came back here his second season as head coach of the Lafayette Leopards. DeNoble in the gun, 2 receivers either side. Curtis sidecar left. 2nd and 5 from the 30, 3:20 left in the game. DeNoble takes the snap, gives once again to Curtis, this time met by Mike Courtney at the 30-yard line. He'll fall forward for 1, Fordham immediately calls another timeout. 3:16 left, so it's there for Fordham if they want it. They can get the stop, and they can get the ball back.
And this is a true test of their defense right now. Lou, we've been saying it. Their red zone defense has looked sharp despite the deficit. It's really what comes before the red zone. They have to try to not let Lafayette get to the red zone. That's the whole part of the game. But Fordham's defense, if they can hold steady, they will definitely have enough time to put together a 2-minute drill drive. And the way that their offense has been moving in this second half definitely looks pretty doable if they can get a stop here.
Fordham looking to stay alive in this game, trailing by 8, 3rd and 4, 3:16 left. Lafayette can get a first down and essentially ice this one away. Courtney showing blitz off the far edge. Both tight ends go on the line for Lafayette. Just one receiver either side. Curtis sidecar left. Fordham loads the box. Snap. Give to Curtis up the middle. A speed burst tripped up at the 32-yard line. They'll say a yard short. Fordham gets the stop.
Curtis on the carry.
And it's awfully close.
I think he's going to end up short here.
Yeah, now.
Or the ref spotted the ball, Lou. It does not look like it crossed the chains, and it definitely didn't, but Fordham's going to take their second timeout here.
It's now their last timeout for the Fordham Rams. Trailing by 8. It's awfully close. You look at where the little black sign with the down marker, it's inches behind the first down marker, and you do wonder, how aggressively does John Troxell play it here? Do you put the faith in your offense to pick up the first down and ice it? The other side of that is if you don't get it, you just gifted Fordham the ball at the 34-yard line. So I'm curious to see what Troxell's going to cook up.
It's a tough decision.
Right now the offense is in the huddle, and so is the Fordham defense. So it looks like on 4th and inches, John Troxell is going to have the offense go for it.
I like this call here from Troxell too, Lou, because if you get it here, Patriot League title chances get even higher.
Heavy set formation. Fordham loads the box defensively. 4th and literally inches. 3:11 left in this fourth quarter. And Troxell seemed to be just trying to draw on offsides. He had DeNoble do a hard count a couple times. You had some movement from the secondary trying to, I think, incur a flinch from the O-line, but no movement from that defensive line. And now I think you'll see the punting unit and Jacob Trestic come out there for the Lafayette Leopards.
Yeah, there were no takers there, Lou. Nobody's trying to flinch, and Fordham trying to do their best to commit Fordham doing their best to have Lafayette commit a penalty. So now Fordham most likely going to have an opportunity to work out a 3-minute drill instead of a 2-minute drill, get an extra 60 seconds there. And it does look like the punting unit will come out for Lafayette.
This looks like the offensive unit. I'm seeing Jamar Curtis and Dean DeNoble. So after a timeout, Lafayette sends the offense back out there. So Lafayette still content to go for it. Now I don't think they can call a timeout without a delay of game because a snap hasn't been had. 4th and inches, tight ends motion to the left side of the line. Fordham loads the box. This to determine the game. DeNoble the snap, the give to Curtis, off right side, picks up the first down, stumbles forward. Down at the 40-yard line, Jamar Curtis adds to an impressive day with the first down conversion. And with no timeouts, Fordham will not be able to stop the clock. And Lafayette should be able to ice this one away. It came down to 4th and inches, Will.
Yeah, Lou, that's just a heartbreaking sequence there for the Fordham Rams. I thought the punting unit was going to go out and there was going to be a shot there for Fordham, but it makes sense that there wasn't. Jamar Curtis gets another few yards there, and it's like a tough running back, gets an extra few, pulling his defender with him on that tackle.
DeNoble in the gun, hands off to Curtis, tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. Elijah Armstrong, the tackle for loss. They'll go for a loss of 1. I'm not the best at math. I think right now, with a stop, Fordham might be able to get the ball back before the game ends. They, of course, won't be able to stop the clock in between. Play clock's at 20, and I'm sure you'll see Lafayette send this all the way down. Game clock ticks under 2 minutes. Play clock now at 10. Lafayette still has to run plays, so still the chance for a turnover. They have to worry about ball security. Snap, give to Curtis, left side, cuts back right. Jaworski brings him down at the 44-yard line. A minute 40 left in this game, clock continuing to run.
And if you're worried about that, though, Lou, you just give it to Curtis, because he has held on to the ball really well today. He's done a lot of damage with the ball in his hand as well. Going to put together a nice, solid line and a great, great game for the sophomore running back.
3rd and 5, play clock at 15, still dwindling. A first down would officially ice this game. Even if Fordham gets a stop here, they'd only have less than 30 seconds. DeNoble in the gun, gives to Curtis, off left tackle, has some space, picks up the first down, and slides down at the 45, gives himself up, and that's the ball game, folks. A minute left on the game clock, but nothing Fordham can do to stop the clock. 2 huge first down conversions from Jamar Curtis have given Lafayette a crucial conference win and keeps them on track to win the Patriot League.
Coach Troxel is loving it down there. Definitely still on track. The destiny is theirs. They control it. Big time win for the Lafayette Leopards over the Fordham Rams, and it comes at the hands of Jamar Curtis, Lou.
How about Jamar Curtis? Over 200 yards today. Victory formation for the Lafayette Leopards. DeNoble goes to a knee. Lafayette improves to 8-2. They're tied with Holy Cross for 4-1 in the conference, and the Patriot League title will come down to next week. The goal for Lafayette is simple: win, and the title is yours. But how about today? With Lafayette's 8th win, it's their first time getting 8 wins since 2009. Their first time with 4 Patriot League wins since 2013 when they won the Patriot League title. So it's been an amazing run for these Lafayette Leopards, and they're still in line to win the title. And even if it comes against Fordham, man, this is a feel-good story.
It really is, Lou. First time that this program has really been back in anything for the last 10 years, so a tremendous win for them. As for Fordham, it's unfortunate. Going to drop a 3rd conference game this year. Definitely not what you want to see, especially with Lafayette kind of almost emerging out of the shadows, essentially, with a bunch of freshmen and sophomores really locking down their starter positions. Fordham drops their 3rd conference game of the season, and unfortunately, that is going to end their season really, really officially at this point.
There's absolutely no chance for Fordham to get an at-large bid at this point with this loss to Lafayette. They'll have one final game to cap off this 2023 season. When we talked to John Troxel, he talked about changing the culture at Lafayette, and he's continuing to do that with a really promising season here for the Lafayette Leopards. The flip side of that is the Fordham Rams fall to 6-4, 2-3 in the conference, just a year removed from a year where they went 9-2 in the regular season with a 5-1 conference record and went toe-to-toe with Holy Cross. And despite all the good things we've seen from the Fordham Rams, it definitely feels like this program has taken a little bit of a step back from last year.
Well, that's because they got a little younger, too, there, Lou. Their quarterback went from a senior to a sophomore. Whole different situation for C.J. Montes. And in his first year, though, very, very impressive stuff. Today, he had to utilize something that he really didn't have to use all that often this year, and that was his legs. Ran in with a rushing touchdown, and he was moving all across the field. So, great first season for Montes, and still some work to be done going into next season. But before you get into next season, let's finish this season with a strong win against Colgate.
And Fordham will finish this season next week in upstate New York at Colgate. That's the season finale. Myself and Brian Ravex will be there for the call, but wrapping this one up, Fordham going toe-to-toe with an elite Lafayette defense. Hey, they only get 1 sack, but they hold this Fordham offense down. The final score, 24 Lafayette, 16 Fordham. That will do it for us today from Easton, Pennsylvania. For Will Tallant, I'm Lou Orlando. Thank you for tuning in. Let's send it back to the Rose Hill Studios. We've got Brendan Shorey and Owen Kelty there for the one-on-one post-game report.
The one-on-one post-game report.
Welcome into the Rose Hill Studio post-game report. Lots to discuss about the game that just went down, along with the scoreboard from our very own Owen Kelty. But first, we got a couple questions for Lou and Will. Lou, we'll start with you. Why was Fordham's defense unable to stop Lafayette in the second half today?
You know, it's a really good question. I think going in, me and Will were both curious about, hey, what are we going to see from Jamar Curtis? And I think you just look at that second half. What you didn't see from them that you did see in the first half was, man, Fordham did such a good job in that first half of setting the edge. You limited Curtis and what he was able to do offensively. You limited a lot of those big gains. I think obviously in the second half, your mind jumps to that 72-yard carry, but just consistently in the second half, Fordham didn't have a presence on the edge. I think for the most part, Alfonso Dixon and Matt Jaworski were pretty silent in that game. Conway has a good game, but he can't be the only one out there making tackles. And so I don't think you just saw enough of Fordham getting hats to the football. You knew Lafayette was in the lead with the run game, especially with Curtis back. And even though you know it's not an easy thing to stop, he's been the best back in the Patriot League this year. But that being said, you wanted to see more containment. I think as soon as that fell apart, that gave the wide open lane for Lafayette to take advantage and get some big gains down the field.
And Will, what did you see from Fordham's offense, and what took them so long to get going?
Well, I would say the balanced attack of Lafayette's defense, guys, because this was a huge rush game, defense heavy narrative kind of game, and Lafayette had to kind of scramble and figure something else out. We saw in the second half, they were using that blitz package that was highly anticipated in the first half a ton, very low scoring, and then they kind of shifted to more of a zone defense. We only saw Billy Schaefer really appear in the fourth quarter at all. The fact that that's even a sentence to be said is crazy, but that's just how this game went. It was a shift from blitz defense to zone defense, and it really worked out in Lafayette's favor.
Thank you guys so much for answering our questions. Great call today, guys. Safe travels back to the Bronx, and we will see y'all later.
Hey, appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Owen, we got a lot to talk about here at the Rose Hill studio, but first, we will go to the one-on-one scoreboard.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
In the Patriot League, Army defeats Holy Cross 17-14. Late in the third, Bucknell is pulling for a comeback, trailing Georgetown 30-15, and Colgate is blowing out Lehigh 30-7. In the top 25, the Michigan Wolverines continue their undefeated season, defeating Penn State 24-15. Number 8 Alabama is laying down the hammer on Kentucky 49-21, and Texas Tech pulls off the upset of 16 Kansas, winning 16-13 in overtime. For the late afternoon games kicking off soon, we have number 4 Florida State hosting Miami. Washington is looking to get into that top 4 with a win versus number 18 Utah, and Rutgers attempts to get into the top 25 with a win versus number 22 Iowa. To end off a great day of college football, number 2 Georgia Bulldogs are coming for the top spot as they face off against number 9 Ole Miss. And kicking off at 10:30, Caleb Williams and USC go to Oregon to take on Bo Nix and the Ducks. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Owen Kelty.
And thank you for that, Owen. As I said, your Fordham Rams lost to the Lafayette Leopards 24-16 today. Real exciting game, especially down to the wire. And Owen and I are here to break it down for everyone. This was really a tale of two halves. We saw it when the first half ended. It was 7-3 Lafayette. The final score was 24-16. The second half was a lot more exciting, a lot more active than that first half, and we really saw these offenses start to get going.
Yeah, we really saw it more from the Lafayette end. Fordham did try to come off with the late comeback, but they really couldn't get it going. They ended up missing the extra point late. But what we saw really from Lafayette was that run game exploded in the second half. 204 rushing yards for Jamar Curtis, 72-yard run, and late in the third quarter. I mean, that's the key to success. If you're going to run for 200 yards in the game, most of the time you're going to win this game. And for Fordham, that's the other side. You couldn't get their run game going. Julius Luffridge had 42 rushing yards at the half, only finishes with 56, averaged 3 yards a carry. Then that's Fordham's recipe for success is running the ball. And when you're not going to be able to do that successfully, you're not going to win the game. So they only put up 16 points. They did try to pull off the late comeback, but fell short.
Yeah, if you want to win games, you got to have every aspect of your offense working, and that includes the running game, which Fordham was just not able to do today. The play action was therefore less effective, and Fordham just wasn't able to get anything going until the very end of the game. But at that point, it was too little, too late, and Fordham was not able to complete the comeback. Flipping over to the other side of the ball, the Fordham defense. They were immovable in the first half, only allowing 7 points to a great Lafayette team who was at the top of the Patriot League. The second half was a different story. Lafayette was able to get whatever they pleased, and they scored on every drive except for that last drive where they were milking the clock. They were running all throughout the Fordham defense, and Fordham was just not able to stop them at all.
Well, and especially when you talk about it, felt like Fordham's defense was out there for almost the entire second half. To start off, the Fordham went 3 and out to start off the third quarter, and then we immediately had a long drive by Lafayette. So your defense is going to be out there for most of the game. That's not a recipe for success. The time of possession was dominated by Lafayette in the second half, and that's just the way they won the game. Fordham's offense couldn't get anything going, and then your defense on there, they're not getting much rest. You're not going to be having a good defensive half.
And there were a few couple of almost turning points. There were some points in this game where there was a lot of momentum that could have shifted. If you look back, the Fordham defense almost had a goal line stand. It came down to 4th and inches on the goal line. They get that stop, then that's a huge momentum shift. Fordham takes over the ball, and then they can go down a long drive. Instead, Lafayette was able to capitalize, and they scored. On this last drive of the game, we saw the same thing, 4th and inches in Lafayette territory, and they get the first down. So a couple of key moments that the Fordham defense was just not able to take advantage of.
And not only that, Fordham leaving points on the board, a missed field goal in the first half, missed extra point. You're looking at a 24-20 game. And like we talked about at halftime, this game there were just miscues that in big spots that you didn't think were going to be huge at the time, but they ended up costing this team a lot. They weren't able to really get in the end zone in the first half. We talked about being forced to kick the field goal that they ended up missing because of not being able to complete a few passes. But this Fordham offense really it never felt like they could get things going. In the first half, felt like they dominated, even though they were down 7-3. In the second half, felt like Lafayette the whole time was controlling the pace of play in the game.
And the second half the Fordham offense was struggling because of that Lafayette defense. Lafayette held Fordham scoreless in the third quarter and only allowed the Fordham to score 2 touchdowns in that fourth quarter. They held them pretty much helpless in that second half of football, and Fordham's offense just wasn't able to get it going until too late. Lafayette was known for their sack numbers. They only had 1 sack today, only 3 tackles for loss. But the big thing about the defense today was that they limited Fordham, and they limited the points Fordham was able to score.
But I think when you can look at some positives from this Fordham offense for this game is C.J. Montes, sophomore quarterback, had a good game, 23 for 34 for 253 yards and a touchdown pass. For him, for this being his first year in this offense, in this system, I think it's something that you can really look forward to for the next two or 3 years that he's going to be here. So while the season in this offense may have been disappointing, I think this game, some players showed signs. You saw Garrett Cody, career high, 96 receiving yards. So I think there's a lot of positives to take out of this game for this program and for this team, and that you have a future of success in the Patriot League.
And you mentioned the good performance by Montes. There's also the fact that Fordham didn't turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we've seen consistently this season, is that C.J. Montes takes care of the ball, and so do our running backs. They don't fumble. The receivers, they don't fumble. Fordham knows how to take care of the ball, and that's a recipe for success. And so even in games where you're going to lose, where you still don't turn the ball over, it's a bright spot, and it's something you can look forward to into next game and next year.
And you're going to be able to hang into any game as long as you don't turn the ball over. If your defense is on top of it and you're able to control the ball, even if you're not scoring touchdowns, being able to not turn the ball over on your side of the field and giving the opponent plus side of the field, that's just kind of what you look for. So it was great all season for them controlling the ball and not turning the ball over, and that's how we've seen how maybe a less talented team than last year was able to stay competitive with some of the top teams in the Patriot League.
And the turnover battle is crucial in games if you want to win them, but so are penalties. And if we look at the penalty stats from today, Fordham had 9 penalties for 59 yards. Lafayette, 3 for 24. That number 9 penalties, it's something you just don't want to see in games.
No, penalties, it completely destroys a drive. If you've holding penalties start a drive, you're looking at 1st and 20 right away, and then you're already trying to make back ground, you end up looking at a punt. So 9 penalties for 59 yards that's just not something you can have if you're going to win a game, especially a game against a team that's much better than you and that you're kind of fighting to stay in. You can't shoot yourself in the foot.
On top of the holding penalties, when you're fighting a team with a good offense like Lafayette has, you can't give them anything. We saw multiple 3rd and longs turn into 3rd and manageable, 3rd and short, because guys from the Fordham D-line were jumping off sides, and they were lined up in the neutral zone. And if you're going to give Lafayette that upper edge and make it so that they have an easier path to get that first down, then you really don't have much of a chance.
And if you're playing against a team that has the upper hand already. You really cannot afford to have those penalties and give them those yards, especially in an offense that was running the ball over. You can't give them a 1st and 5 because then you're already looking at a new set of downs. And I think that was the key for Fordham's defense today, just being unable to stop the run. I mean, they did a good job in the passing game holding Dean DeNoble to 16-21 for 137 yards. I mean, that's nothing. That's not great by any means, but 204 rushing yards was the key for success for Lafayette.
And those 204 rushing yards really killed the Fordham Rams today. A great game it was, though, between the Fordham Rams and the Lafayette Leopards. Lafayette took this one 24-16. That's going to do it today for us here at the Rose Hill studio. Thank you guys for tuning in. The sports director of WFUV is Bobby Chaffardini. We had Lou Orlando and Will Tallant on the call. Caleb Stein working the board, Joe Henry our engineer, and Ralph Barbieri as supervising producer. For Owen Kelty, I'm Brendan Shorey saying so long. Have a great rest of your day. Fordham Football is a production of WFUV Sports.